Welcome everyone, my name is Teddy. This is already day 4 of the Gamestars League, and as always I am joined by the one and only Ready Set. How are you doing, man?
Doing excellent, man. Cannot wait to get into these matches today, Teddy.
Yeah, likewise. This is gonna be a pretty fun group. I feel like the quality of matches has been just increasing every single day. I hope that it keeps going like that for the rest of the season, because then we are definitely in for a treat. This is gonna be a pretty interesting group. We got some pretty fun teams across the board. This is a bit of an overview first of the scores from the 3 first days, as well as what to expect from the next one. So the teams that are already qualified are going to be Blood Diamond, Mood Gaming, and SK Gaming, all with some pretty dominant performances across the board. And then we already have a couple of teams going home, such as Atlantic, Cyber Empire, and JKS. Today, though, it's going to be all about Noble Elite, Bojo's Barmy Army, Zero Zone Spain, and Sky Blue.
Yeah, Sky Blue, they're looking pretty nice here. I mean, you know, as far as the rankings, because we actually can see the rankings that they had in the open qualifiers. Before we get into that, though, take a look at our agenda for today. It's going to be Sky Blue versus Noble Elite. Then BB Army versus ZZ Spain. That definitely rolls off the tongue better than, or does it? Bojo's Barmy Army, BB Army. I mean, Teddy, maybe you can help me out on this one. But
yeah, of course, I think we'll be fine with BB Army.
BB Army, I like it. I like it. Yeah, but the loser of those is going to be the third match, and we are going to have the winners in the final match of the day. You won't want to miss it. Of course, we don't know who those are going to be yet, but we do have maybe some predictions, Teddy. Who are you looking at in particular?
I mean, I think the 2 teams that are particularly standing out here are going to be Zero Zone Spain, which I think could potentially be the favorite in this group. Bojo's Barmy Army is a pretty solid UK roster as well. Then, you know, I also know Noble Elite Croco from the EECA monthly final. So that's already 3 teams with some degree of competitive experience. And Sky Blue, I'm not familiar with, but they did get first seeding in the 3rd wildcard qualifier. So I'm guessing they can't be that bad, right? If they get the first seeding in a qualifier that is, you know, not region restricted either. So this could potentially be quite a fun day of matches, man.
Yeah, I mean, a trend that we've seen, of course, we do have open qualifiers for all sorts of different countries, and I mean, your seeding in this stage of the competition is based on how you performed in those open qualifiers. So something we've seen from the #1 teams is, you know, consistently, whether it's more of a small region for Brawl Stars or a larger region, they always make it pretty far. You know, they do pretty well. We haven't seen any of the #1 teams knocked out yet, whether it was Golden Age surprising us with a really great performance on the 2nd day, or yesterday, SK just completely blowing everyone out of the water. Of course, they were ranked #1 in their region during the open qualifiers. I mean, so if the ranking in the open qualifiers is anything to judge by, I mean, Sky Blue, we are looking at a pretty nice performance for them coming up.
Hi, my name is Ali. I am a 21-year-old. I am from Iraq, and I am captain of Team Sky Blue. I played Brawl Stars like from 3 years when it was beta, and I trained so much in the game, and yeah, here I am now. My first teammate is First Curse. He is also from the same country as me, from Iraq. He is 19-year-old, and his favorite brawler is Brock. And the second teammate is from French. His name is Shrooms. He is a 21-year-old like me, and he loves always to play G. We started playing together, me and First Curse, 2 years ago, like after the beta launch. and we had two other teammates, but they couldn't be here because of the exams. So I picked a third player, and he is Shrooms. We didn't play together a lot actually, but we all try our best. For me, my favorite brawler is Piper because she is a girl and she is cute, and I love to play her. In my group, yes, I know Zero Zone Spain. I know like the UK team. I used to play against them a lot. And for the team, the Russian team, I didn't hear about them. We have the first match against them. I hope we will have strong team. And yeah, let's see. First Curse are friends from long time. Like when we are not friends in real life. We didn't meet in real life because he lives in far away place than me. But we will try to meet each other in real life because we are so close friends. For Shrooms, we are like friends and just in the Brawl Stars. Our goal for this tournament, it's just like we want to have fun playing against a good teams, and we hope we win something. As I told you, it is always hard to play against European teams because the connection issue, but we will try our best to win something. So for my team, I hope we go far in this tournament and win so many games as we want, and we will try our best to go in this tournament, and we hope we win something in this tournament and we will be famous.
Well, love to hear stuff from the players about what they're expecting coming into these matches. Of course, you know, all players, right, you know, they know their enemies, right? They know what teams they're going to, you know, perform pretty well against. Of course, everyone has their doubts as well, but ultimately, you know, to come out on top, you just have to have the confidence, and you got to be able to commit when it is most important. And so, of course, you know, just to reiterate, love to hear what these players have to say. And with that, actually, Teddy, we're going to move into these bans.
Yes, two on the side of Sky. It's gonna be Amber for Noble Elite Croco. I think it's two bans that make quite a lot of sense. They're two brawlers that can carry quite a bit in those matches, and the kind of brawlers that if you don't ban, you are pretty much forced to play. When it comes to the maps and game modes, we are kicking things off on Sneaky Fields in Brawl Ball. Then we will have Double Swoosh for Jam Grab, one of my favorite maps of all time, by the way. I'm very happy to see it here since it's not in competitive anymore. Ring of Fire for Hot Zone, but Riot for Siege, and Central Traffic for Heist. Man, those are a couple of maps that are not competitive that I actually really enjoy watching. I mean, you know, whether it's Sneaky Fields, Double Swoosh, Ring of Fire, but Riot, they're all great maps, and I'm really excited to watch some of that.
Yeah, I mean, we've really been missing out on our fix of Double Swoosh lately. It's a really fun map. I have always struggled a little bit. I mean, I used to love the map, and then I just don't get it anymore, right? So, I mean, Teddy, I guess you're the Double Swoosh aficionado, right? What are some brawlers that we can expect coming into that map?
Well, it's really hard to say since it hasn't been in competitive since the end of last year. So the meta has switched up quite a bit. Some brawlers that used to be good and I see still being quite dominant right now are definitely like Sandy, maybe even Rosa could be quite playable. We used to have a lot of Gene mid and that kind of stuff, and since Gene is kind of back in the meta where he was meta when Double Swoosh was, you know, a competitive map, I wouldn't be surprised to see some teams going for that. We see a lot of Mr. P as well, which is not a brawler that is quite as strong anymore. Even Tara would be played quite a bit. So those are all brawlers I kind of expect to see, you know, to a certain extent in the mix. But yeah, it's definitely a tough question because the meta has changed quite a bit since last time I've seen some competitive Double Swoosh. But I think that makes it even more exciting for us, you know, watching the matches because we aren't too sure what we can expect.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Just, you know, can't wait for this game. Coming up, it looks like we're going to be moving into Sneaky Fields. Of course, our first map. Take a look at our brawlers. Similar strats from both teams. We have the Max combined with the M's, though actually interesting from Noble Elite. They're running the Leon, which is not one that we see as much in competitive. It doesn't seem to be working out so far, so we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see the shape up just a little bit. Noble Elite, now that they have, oh interesting, they're not even running Invisikill, they're running Smoke Trails. So that is definitely a new sight. Actually, it seems to be working out okay. We see Spews over here trying to get this one in the goal. Naruto able to defend that one properly. Life Pool just fighting for his life, of course. Actually, okay, never mind. Spews, he's not running Smoke Trails. I think that's why you laughed, Teddy. He's running Invisikill. But he got the speed from Max. So, I mean, I guess you don't need Smoke Trails if you just have a Max on your team.
Yeah, I mean, if she boosts you up as a Leon, that could be one of those combinations that is a bit maybe underrated, because it's true that if you have a Leon going super fast into your face that can dodge shots on his way to you, it can do quite a bit of damage, and he has the advantage of still dealing some decent damage at medium and longer range compared to other, you know, like, I don't want to call him a tank, but he's usually going to be right into your face like an assassin. And often they don't really do the most damage from afar. If you look at Crow, for example, from afar, he's not going to do any damage. Like, his shots are going to hit for like 500. Nice pull, though, from Shrews, and that's going to be a way to open things up. This is looking like a goal, and it will be indeed. Sky Blue taking the first game home. I want to say pretty convincingly, but it was a 2-1 scoreline in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, though, I mean, I did see the Leon starting to come through, right, sort of towards the middle of the game. It's an interesting strat that we see Noble Elite running because you have the max speed, right? It really helps to get Leon in position, and max speed on Ems can just be so deadly, right? Especially when she has her super. She's able to close distance with her targets and, you know, just keep them in her range. So it's a good combo, but it just was not enough to take down more of a traditional strategy that we saw coming out of Sky Blue, right? The Gene was able to get Leon out of position, you know, completely caught him off guard while he was trying to farm up that super. And that is just one of the hazards of playing Leon in, I guess, not having something to really account for the Gene. You know, is there really a good counter for Gene? You know, that's kind of up for debate. But you do have to have some sort of counterplay, right? And when you're at long range, or at least an ineffective range, trying to farm up a super for so long, it is just not going to work out.
Yeah, they're going to be switching the Leon up here for Tara this time. I think the comps from Noble Elite Kroko are a bit off meta so far, but at least they're showing some interesting stuff. It's not exactly working out too well so far into this game, as they were already 2 players down. We have a Sandy Super that's going to be helping out get some more control. Can they get into a good position to turn this into a goal? It's definitely not looking too bad. A nice pull. That's going to be 2 players connecting, but Spews is the last player alive. He is going to fall next, and that's going to be goal number 1 from Sky Blue.
Yeah, that was actually looking really hopeful there from Noble Elite Kroko. I mean, we saw a nice Tara Super, though what is absolutely undeniable is that once Sky Blue got that Sandstorm down, it was just an uphill battle. There was no coming back for Noble Elite Kroko, and we might actually see, yep, that next goal, that's going to be Sky Blue wiping out this set 2-0, and we're going to be moving into set number 2. But just like the Sandy Super, it's just astounding how much control that Sandy Super was able to give Sky Blue there.
Yeah, Sandy is just really strong at the moment. It's just one of those brawlers, just like Max, where its utility for the whole team is absolutely amazing, but it's also a brawler that stands his own weight in a 1v1 situation, and that can actually fight. I think that's the big difference with Ruffs, for example, that used to be really good in 1v1s, but now that he got nerfed a bit, he still has that super nice utility from his super, the fact that he can help it and boost his teammates out, super great, but mechanically struggles a bit more. And I think this is why we see so much Sandy, so much Max. Not only are they really nice to combine together, but they're just so combinable with other comps, with other brawlers, and they're both strong brawlers on a individual level, but also at a more macro, at a more like team play perspective, and they just bring so much value to the team.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a spectacular play there from Sky Blue. We're going to be moving into set number 2. It is the long-awaited, but not actually that long-awaited Double Swoosh, one of our favorite maps. Double Swoosh, please come back to competitive. Though, we will get to have a little taste of what it's going to be like going into set number 2. I mean, we are familiar with the comps of, say, yesteryear, right? Some of our brawlers that have fallen out of the meta a little bit, or are kind of in a weird position right now. Probably can expect to see the Jean though, right? We saw the Max, we saw the Jean and the Sandy being very powerful in sneaky fields, right? And these maps, they do share some similarities just in the, I guess, maybe positioning of the obstacles and just having these large bushes to hide out in. And so something that we saw Sky Blue do really well, though, was keep mid control, right? We see Noble Elite, Croco, they were able to turtle up really well and keep their defense, but ultimately Sky Blue, they had the mid control, and that is what Gem Grab is all about. So this is looking pretty good for them if they can keep up this sort of gameplay going into this next game.
Yeah, I definitely feel like my pick predictions were pretty on point. The Crow
Yeah.
is a very good pick. I didn't really mention Sprout. Likewise, just really strong brawler overall. We'll have to see how that fares against a Jean. Once the Jean starts having some supers, opening up the map, getting some nice pulls, it can find some nice value. And that wall, not only is it gonna help block off rotations for a bit, it's also just gonna remove the bushes and basically make sure that the Jean can't hide on the left-hand side, make it easier and more predictable to find his location.
Yeah, it's interesting to think of Sprout as a wall breaker. He's not really a wall breaker, he's a wall maker, and then he breaks bushes or eats them, right? Whatever it's going to be. Wow, and a massive pull there from Lightpool, but he has nowhere to retreat. He's going to have to rely on this assistance from Sandy. We're going to see a nice Crow jump there coming out from Shrew. Not going to be enough to take back any gems, though. This is going to be Noble Elite now taking back some of these gems. They're going to be tying up the gem count, if not just for a moment. I mean, Noble Elite, now they've brought out the Sandy, and they're able to get that control with the Sandy Super, of course, the Sandstorm. But now this might actually be quite tough for them to fight against Sky Blue. Sky Blue, of course, they're fighting a 3v2 with one of the lanes blocked off. It's going to be a bit of an obstacle there for Noble Elite. Though we do see the Atara Super just waiting to go. 10 gems on Noble Elite, and Atara just waiting with a super. She's getting pinched pretty hard. No value on that super, but 10 seconds remaining for Noble Elite. They're gonna have to make a slow, steady retreat here. They have the Tar Shade to heal them. Crow not going to be able to get in there. A nice pull is going to be able to finish off this game. That's going to be the first game win for Noble Elite Croco.
Nice change of pace there. Beautiful level 3 Shelly, I think. Power 3 Shelly that was. But anywho, it's nice to see them catching up after, a bit of a quick set that definitely was a lot more one-sided. It was pretty back and forth in this one. And I think that it came down to that play where the Jean just hit that pool, and afterwards it just enabled the entire offense from the team to just focus around that area and to make sure that those gems can't just get picked up. And with time and with better positioning, they were able to get them, keep some more middle control, and just overall dominate through the game. So I think they played it really, really well. And overall, I think it has to do a lot with that matchup in mid, where you had the Sprout on one side and the Jean. This is the kind of matchup that if Sky Blue were able to block the Jean from getting any supers, it would work really well, because Jean is not going to have the easiest way to find some nice angles and find some big shots. But on the other hand, if he starts getting 1, 2, 3 supers, it's going to be a really, really tough time, because if the Sprout gets pulled, there's not a lot of places he can go to.
Yeah, and see, I would hardly even call that really a misplay there from Sky Blue when we saw Sprout get pulled there, because we did actually see Sprout account for that, putting down that wall so that Jean could not retreat, and that was a great play. But I mean, at the end of the day, right, Sprout does, or just throwers in general, have a very tough time against Gene because they can no longer rely on those walls for protection. And, you know, of course, that is one of, one of the benefits of playing a thrower is that you can rely on some of these obstacles for your protection. And that's where we most often now actually see Gene played, is as a sort of thrower counter. We don't see him as much just to pull someone and then stun them with the gadget. So, like, we didn't even see the gadget coming out from Shrews there. I mean, after it got nerfed and it's same range as Ems's, it's simply not as common. But we actually don't see Sky Blue, of course. Yeah, they're not running the thrower this time. Neither team is running the thrower. It's the double pull coming out from Noble Elite. A nice pull there from Spoos. Naruto gonna have to fight off these shades, and an excellent actually retreat there from Spoos. This could go either way at this point because the gem count is equalizing, and it's tough to see who exactly has control.
Yeah, it is pretty close. Noble Elite taking a bit of a lead. There's a pull available as well on Lifeboy. He's going to connect it. Does take quite a bit of damage in the process, but that's going to be enough to get that countdown started. And now Sky Blue, once again, they need to interrupt it. They need a kill, and they're not able to find anything just yet. With 8 seconds left, can they make something happen? Nope, yet another pull, and that's going to be game over for Sky Blue. Set 2 is going the way of Noble Elite.
Yeah, and a complete sweep too. I mean, we see them running Noble Elite, they're running the double pull, right? And usually from the double pull, right, of course it's the Taro with the Gene combination. It's just one pull after the other, always stunning your enemy out of position. And they can kind of bounce off each other and just get them back to back. Though that's not exactly what we saw, right? We actually more saw from Noble Elite, they just get like one clutch pull, right? They're able to get Sky Blue out of position and then absolutely just capitalize on that, right? And so we saw that twice. We saw it in the first game, we saw it in the second game. And Sky Blue, they're going to have to anticipate this going into the next game. And look how even it actually was. We actually saw less damage coming out from Noble Elite than Sky Blue, because at the end, right, what secured that game for them was being able to get one of those clutch Gene pulls. And we actually saw the other lanes going down besides Gene, but, you know, Gene is always going to be present. He's always there, or at least that's what we saw from Noble Elite. And that is what's going to give him those opportunities to hit those pulls and grab all those gems to win the game.
Yeah, Ring of Fire is going to be up next. That is, of course, for Hot Zone. It's a single zone map that is very, very much open around the center area. You don't have a whole lot of cover to work with. You do have a bunch of bushes, where you can be hiding your ticks or even some pipers or stuff like that. I think that some of the comps I've been seeing recently would be, for example, triple healer or like at least a double healer, just because it's so hard to stay alive in that position because it's so open and so hard to defend. I think Tick is also a very viable option. Amber and Stu are really good as well, but they are banned, of course. I think Bell could actually be quite strong because a lot of the comps rely on, stacking up around the middle and having more than one person in the zone. And if you hit a shot with Bell, it's going to be bouncing between the players until there's enough distance between them. So it could be a nice way to find some nice value. So, along the lines of what Jessie would be bringing on the table, and she's definitely a pick we could consider there as well. Indeed, triple healer on the side of Sky Blue, and technically, double 2.5 healer on the side of Noble Elite with the Gene, I guess.
Yeah, the magic puffs coming out. I don't know how much Gene is going to be able to do for for Noble Elite here. They're going to have to look for some sort of pulling someone out of position, but it's going to have to be far enough away to where they cannot receive healing, and that's just going to be a real tough one. Look at this. Both teams are on the point. Look at all the healing going around. They just won't go down. It's going to come down to who actually runs out of gadgets first, I believe, and actually looks like Naruto got pulled there, but was not able to be taken down. Sky Blue, they're going to be taking control of mid, and this is actually going to be quite tough for Noble Elite to push back into. They do have one more push left in this game, so it's going to actually come down to that. We see all of Noble Elite coming back. A nice pull, and that is going to be the beginning of the end, it looks like, for Sky Blue. Could actually see some brawlers go down here. First curse just healing Naruto at any given opportunity. That is actually going to be Sky Blue taking this hot zone. And this is very interesting. We saw both teams I mean, almost a mirror match, right? Of course, we don't see. We don't see Noble Elite running the Byron, and we didn't see Sky Blue running the Jean. Jean did not appear to work as well as Byron, so that could be adjustment that we see. Though, what I predict actually is we see some sort of countermeasure from either team. Now that both of these teams know that one of them is going to run a triple healer, then we could see, as you said, Bell, we could actually see Penny or an Ems or something like that, right? A brawler that's able to get a lot of damage faster than the enemies can heal each other.
Yeah, that is a very much possible. Another way to go would be to get one brawler on anti-heal. I'm thinking Crow, I'm thinking even Byron with, I don't remember the name of the star power, but one of them reduces healing by 50% for 90 seconds. Thank you, Reddy. So this is stuff that can be quite strong here as well. What I really like about Crow, for example, is that if you think about it and you manage to, they're all close up together, you get them all 50% less healing. That means that your team as a duo, if they have two healers, they will have more healer than your opponents, more healing than your opponents. So that's stuff to keep in mind. And Crow is a brawler that you could end up playing pretty well on an open map like this, even if you end up not facing a triple healer comp. So I feel like Crow could kind of be the big brain move to go for. I don't know. What do you think, Reddy?
I mean, it could be the strat. We see maybe a Pam Poco coming out and then the Crow, but actually we see none of that. Now we see Naruto switching onto this B at mid, and of course we know B is so powerful when dealing with tanks. She's able to pump out loads of damage. We also see the M's coming out as well. Though first curse onto this Barley. Of course, Barley has a massive range, going to be able to lay down tons of control on this point. Naruto now looking for this kill on Spoos. Unfortunately, hit that one on the wall. First curse, though, able to come in with that incredible Barley range. Sky Blue, once again, taking back control of mid. Some nice shots, actually, to establish control from Sky Blue, though Noble Elite, they're going to be able to keep each other alive. A nice super there from Trick, not able to stay alive, though. Of course, Sky Blue, they were not completely getting rid of the healing. They still have a Barley gadget for the heal just to keep them in the mix. And it's looking pretty tough for a Noble Elite to stay in this one because they're just not able to get close enough to their enemy to consistently get those heals like they were in the first game. So looks like Noble Elite, they have just one more push left in them. Sky Blue, they're going to have to just keep control and stay in position. True, unfortunately, going down is going to be Noble Elite actually taking back control of mid. They might look for this kill on First Curse. Actually, not going to get that kill on First Curse, though Trick doing a nice job of keeping him back and just looking for some damage. He needs to charge up that next super to keep control of this point, but it is going to go back to Noble Elite and a whiffed super there. I mean, Colette's super just has a massive hitbox, it seems. Sky Blue, once again, taking back control, giving them a really hard time with ends. And it looks like this one is actually going to go to Sky Blue, Teddy.
It's looking pretty good thus far. They are going to get back into the center, start capturing some more. They're 5% away, and no one that can stop them at this point. Sky Blue securing their second set in the bag as they take home Hot Zone in a pretty convincing way. Even the mirror matchup, or like almost mirror matchup, was the triple healer versus triple healer, was quite a bit more convincing on their end. It was a bit of a crazy fight, to become completely honest. Very interesting set. Both teams going for like very similar strategies, but like some slightly different means to achieve them. I'm curious about set number 4. As we are gonna be moving over to we'll see in just a second, because I don't quite remember anymore. I know I was happy about it. It's gonna be, oh no, we'll see that in a bit. First we get the kills, which are gonna be pretty one-sided, not gonna lie. That's very much gonna be in favor damage wise as well. You honestly can't compare it. Like, it's just a whole lot more on the side of Sky Blue. And at some point, if you're getting so many more kills, so much more damage, what can you do?
Right. I mean, Noble Elite, they were really trying to stay in there with those heals, but at least in game number 1, they just did not have as much of a healing focused comp as Sky Blue. It looked like they were actually not so confident about the healing comp, because they brought out the Gene to perhaps deal with any throwers. They weren't really certain, and because they didn't fully commit, they just were not able to stand up to the triple healers. But set number 4, it's going to be on bot Riot, and I recall, Teddy, I mean, you said you really like this map. It's refreshing to see in competitive. It opens up some opportunities to have our individual lane matchups, right, some 1v1s. But another thing, actually, that we see players doing is just sort of spreading out between these lanes, of course using the bushes as passages between the different lanes. And check it out, actually, Noble Elite, they're running the Surge. Surge, of course, for the teleport, can get some long range control as well, but this is actually looking more like the meta from July of last year, Teddy.
It most certainly is. Brawlers such as Max, Sandy, Gene, Surge were at their peak at that time, so definitely interesting to have a bit of a maybe a game stuck in time.
Ooh.
Nice pull over there. I'm not sure if it's the best moment to use that pull, since they could have used it afterwards to, you know, keep control of the center, because now Trick is back just in time for the retake, so maybe a couple of seconds later would have just given them quite a bit more value. But they'll take what Noble Elite give them, and Spuse is able to find a nice kill. There's another one from Lifepool, leaving Shrews left alone, and he's going to be melted down by Spuse.
Yeah, I actually really agree with you here, Teddy. I think that was a bit of a overzealous pull there. We probably saw Shrews expecting to get that pull back, right? Expecting to cycle it, but did not actually manage to cycle that pull and was not able to keep control of mid. They probably also expected the Sandstorm to do a little bit more than it did. Now we're going to see Sky Blue attempt and defend this bot. They're actually let it get a lot of damage on their safe. In fact, they would actually rather come back to mid and get control, because if they can get this next bot, then they win the game. There is, it's really, by percentage, not even close. So it comes down to who wins this last mid fight. So far, Noble Elite, they are in the lead, but Trick is the only member of Noble Elite still at mid, and he's going to have to make a hasty retreat. Not able to get all the way back. Spuse also heading in, not able to keep that control. We're going to see this last bot go to Sky Blue, and Noble Elite definitely has their work cut out for them on this defense. They're going to need to get the max speed as well as the Gene pull if they want to really be able to defend this. Of course, Shrews and Naruto, they are pretty far out, though they are in position to get some damage on this Ike. Here comes the damage flying in. It could actually be very close. It's going to get within a few percentage points. That is going to be this game going to Sky Blue, and it actually got quite close there at the end, Teddy. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what they could have done differently to defend that one just, you know, right before that bot came in. I think actually we did see a pretty noble defense from Noble Elite, though perhaps with a Max Super and a Gene pull, we could have seen the, you know, perfect defense. I don't know. What's your take on that, Teddy?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like overall they didn't have a whole lot to work with as well, right? They had basically no supers, which means that you don't have a whole lot of utility to be using against that siege mod. If you have opponents facing you, I think they had Max Super and Sandy Super, so some pretty decent mobility and control. Just an all right setup, you know, facing that kind of weaker defense on the side of Noble Elite Kroger, and I do think that they fought really solidly, taking that into account. One thing I want to point out from earlier while we get into this early game here is the fact that they decided to trade off more damage on the second siege bot for like Sky Blue, and instead went for an early retake. And basically the mentality regarding that is that when you are defending, it is a trade-off between getting back into mid fast or defending, and make sure that you don't get a lot of damage on your Ike. And it was absolutely the right goal to go for a quick retake, because you want to make sure that you have control. It doesn't matter how many percentage you have at that point. What does matter is getting that final siege bot, because it's a full commitment push. And I think it was the best decision they could take. And I actually really want to commend them, because they popped Max Super at that time as well to get perfect control. I am talking a long time about it, but it is a very, very underrated practice, and I think it's important to talk about it.
Yeah, that, and you explained it beautifully, Teddy. I gotta hand it to you. Though, I mean, of course, this match, let's talk about the game at hand. It is the match point. Sky Blue, they just need to take one more game. Of course, this game, in order to close out the entire set, and I mean, this match has just flown by. Every single set has been a sweep. 2-0. We're gonna see Noble Elite keep control of mid here. It looks like Noble Elite, they might actually, no, they're not gonna have any real contests here at mid. Sky Blue, they're gonna be able to grab a few bolts. It's gonna be, never mind, I take it back. It's gonna be pretty close. 7-13 at the moment, but if Sky Blue can take back control of mid, then they stand the chance of grabbing enough bolts to tie up or take this final siege bot. Of course, all they need to do is tie it. Sky Blue, they're getting very close. Only a few seconds remain for them to tie up the bolt count. Noble Elite doesn't look like they're going to be able to snag this bolt here. Spew's gonna maybe take down first curse. It's going to be a tie, actually, for the final siege. This is going to be the game, it looks like, going to Sky Blue, unless we see Noble Elite actually make the push in here. Looks like Trick is not looking so hopeful. Life Pool, he's not about to quit now. Trick, though, he is already done. Spew's gotta wonder what he's saying, because, of course, we can't see the player cam. Yeah, Life Pool not going to be able to get in there. Spew's not pleased. That is going to be Sky Blue advancing to the final, and Noble Elite getting knocked down to the elimination match.
Yeah, solid performance from Sky Blue across this match. They definitely felt like the superior team getting into this match. You know, on paper, I wasn't too sure what to expect from them, but they showed up big time, and they definitely had a really solid performance overall. I do want to commend that Noble Elite did take a set from them. I think that they played double swoosh extremely well, and
Yeah.
it really felt like a different team when it came down to that set. I think they felt so much more confident, so much more aggressive, really just initiating the fights, whereas afterwards it was a bit more sloppy. And the other sets were just not really, they were kind of all over the place. They would sometimes go for some aggression at the wrong time, sometimes play it a bit too passive, feel like they are getting dominated by Sky Blue. And stats-wise, they were. And if you let it play out that way, it's just going to get worse and worse. And Sky Blue definitely, I mean, look at those stats, very convincing stuff. The most picked brawlers are almost the same on both sides. The difference maker is going to be Sandy for Sky Blue and Tara for Noble Kroko, which is something you don't see every day, Tara being one of the most picked brawlers.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Tara did not work out so well for them. Something I want to point out, though, I mean, on the set that we did see Noble Elite manage to take with those OP gene pulls, I was pretty quick on the trigger to say that it was, you know, perhaps a fluke, but we saw it consistently. They were able to get themselves in a position to pull the gem carrier. But we're going to see some highlights of that match as we head to the next one, y'all. Take a look.
My name is Declan Travis. I am 18 years old and I represent Bojo's Barmy Army, and I'm from England. They go by Atkins and Carroll in game. Carol is 16 years old and Atkins is 23. Yeah, we've kind of only got together for this tournament, so you know we're a bit of a throw together team. So that's basically that's the outline of it. So yeah, Atkins is also English like me, and then Carol comes from Netherlands. We slotted him on our team just because he was probably the next best option to be able to play with. Because we kind of gathered the team kind of late on into the registration, so quite a lot of players were taken. But you know, we think we're a very strong team regardless. All of us have got a lot of competitive experience. We come from as I said, a range of different teams. I know Atkins and Carol have played together for a decent amount of time beforehand. But yeah, we've all got a lot of competitive experience. Obviously, I've been playing for like 2.5 years in competitive now, playing in the main tournaments, and they have as well. You know, they've been playing almost as long as I have in competitive. So yeah, we've definitely got the knowledge and the skill to be able to take this tournament. First of all, kind of going to try and focus on getting through these group stages first, and then from there, obviously, as kind of a throw together team, we're just going to try and make it as far as we possibly can. Not expecting too much, but obviously we're not expecting to get knocked out early on either. Well, the only team I've really heard of in our group stage is Zero Zone Spain. Obviously a really strong upcoming team. They're not as well known as people really as they should be. They deserve to be a lot more well known than they are. So they're definitely a really strong team. So I think they're going to be the biggest opponents in the group stage. So hopefully we'll be able to get them out of the way kind of early and move on from there. I'm a huge fan of Tara and BB. They're my two favorite brawlers and probably my two strongest brawlers too. And you know, I'm sure you got this answer a lot, but obviously Brawl Ball is probably going to be my favorite mode. It's just so fun and obviously comparable to football in real life, which I'm a big fan of as well. So yeah, that's the reason behind that. I've got faith in you guys. We're obviously going to try and take this as long as we can do together. Obviously some really good friends, so we've got each other's backs all the way. So let's just try and take it as far as we can and get this done.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that little interview there with Rav. Of course, that is one of the matches we're looking for today. Our second match of the day is going to be Bojo's Barmy Army versus Zero Zone Spain. We saw Zero Zone play earlier, of course. Now we have the Spanish division. And Bojo's Barmy Army, they're looking actually pretty strong. I mean, these are some players that we recognize from the competitive sphere. Rev, of course, very established in competitive. Teddy, anything to remark about Bojo's Barmy Army?
I think where they can shine is going to be through their experience as individuals, and also, you know, just their mechanical skill is pretty solid. On the other hand, though, as Trav said in the video, he is, I mean, they're not like a competitive team, right? They're three competitive players that decided to play together, whereas Zero Zone, a bit more, you know, synergy, maybe a bit more teamwork, because they've been playing together for at least a year, and they just have that more like experience as a team, but maybe a bit less of you know, individual achievements like from each player. So it's tough to say. Stu is going to be banned on both sides. It is a ban that makes a lot of sense. It is blind bans, so you never know what your opponents are going to be banning. And the maps, we will see that in a bit. First off, we have the most picked brawlers so far in the competition. And, you know, if you look at the pick rate, it is going to be Max and Sandy up there. Once again, still Poco, kind of leading in win rate, but it's always hard to say when you have, you know, a bit of a lower pick rate because you have less samples to look at. And also, it once again, it kind of shows how he is a strong brawler to pick up in a surprising way, right? It is the kind of brawler that you want to pick when your opponents expected the least. Fast Fork is going to be map number 1 for Brawl Ball. GG Mortuary follows up in High's Magnetic Field for Hot Zone, Death Cap Trap for Jam Grab, and then finally Olive Branch for Siege.
Fast Fork, I gotta say, is an interesting one. I mean, I haven't personally played on this map. I kind of like the look of it. The only hazard I can see is that, man, people are gonna get like their goal sniped. It's a similar hazard that I saw with what was it? It was like Sandy. No, it was Sunny Soccer. That's what it was. I do not like that map, man. I have something personal, and we get to look at one of our player cams, get an idea of what is going on in their places. I wonder what kind of shoes those are in the background. They look pretty cool. I love the drip. Love to see
Yeah,
what these
I'm not
players
entirely sure,
are up
man.
to.
I was looking at the lightsabers, like they're sick.
Oh, those are cool.
I've seen on his
Yeah.
own stream, he can like turn them on and use them as like backlights, kind of. It's kind of sick. Oh, and he has some of the same merch as you, or
Yeah,
what's going on there?
I have the Brawl Stars pillow sitting right up here, man. I mean, it's a little bit
Oh,
out of
man.
frame, but dude, the Brawl, I confess, it is a very soft pillow, right? I would definitely I would sleep on it if I weren't so like worried about messing it up, because it's perfectly white. I don't want to stick it in the washer, man. But yeah, of course, you love the Brawl merch. I mean, that is of course a mark of someone who's really dedicated to this game, and you know, whether they're willing to integrate it right into their room, right into their life, right? And you know, I think
Sure, their
that's
private
something that
life.
yeah, their private life. It's like you know, you turn off the camera, you log offline, and you're like, yeah, still reminded of Brawl Stars. I guess I don't mind it, you know, coexisting with it in my room.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of things to sleep on, we need to make sure that both teams don't sleep on each other, if that makes any sense, because they're not teams you can sleep on. They are definitely really solid teams. I think this is gonna be one of the closest semi-final matches we've had in this entire season. Once again, I just want to point out, you know, the more individual expertise on the side of BB Army. Zero Zone Spain, it's going to be about their teamwork, it's going to be about their synergy, their communication, how they play together. They have been playing together for a long time, which is why I think that can give them a bit of an edge. But on the other hand, you have some pretty big names and solid players on the side of BB Army. So I don't know. I think I like those kind of matches where it's just two teams that are very different just from the core up, and you just have to kind of see what works best against each other. I feel like in general, you know, teamwork is the most important, but with enough like mechanical skill and individual performance, and also just, you know, the ability to kind of like improvise and adapt to your teammates this quickly, BB Army, they do stand a chance in this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. BB Army. I mean, you know, we're of course, as you said, looking at two teams with some very talented individual players. So of course, only the time will tell. But once again, I want to reiterate, like, this is probably going to be one of the closest, if not the closest, semifinal matches that we've seen so far in the competition, because usually we just see it go like 3-1 or 3-0. We see a lot of sweeps in this stage of the competition just because the top teams get paired against, you know, some of the lower seeded teams from the open qualifiers. But I mean, Bojo's Barmy Army versus Zero Zone Spain, I mean, maybe this is one of the closer ones, right? Maybe we're looking at two teams that were seated pretty close together, because of course, you know, that is just how tournaments work out when you decide the matchups by seeding. So of course, we're going to be waiting to get into this next game pretty soon. It's going to be very exhilarating. Teddy, I mean, since you're familiar with the players from Bojo's Barmy Army, any particular brawlers that you're expecting to come out?
Oof, I think we can expect quite a bit of Max, probably a bit of Jean as well. I feel like Sandy, once again, is just really solid at the moment. It's really hard to say, to be honest, especially now that you have only one ban, which is Stu. I still want to see some Belle. I think a lot of teams are maybe not even aware that she's playable, because in some events she's not, because she's the latest brawler. Oh my, I just had to ask for it. I just had to ask for it. Ready?
Yeah, we do see Belle coming out from BBA, and this is actually sort of the move I was expecting from BBA, but not from Zero Zone Spain. This is very refreshing to see. We actually see Zero Zone, they are running, well, no, never mind. Both teams are running the shield star power for Belle, and we're going to see BBA toss this one out of the way. Curious to see what exactly the role that Belle is going to fulfill here. I mean, we are looking at some wide open lanes. Look at the control, actually, from Zero Zone. Something to mention, actually, is we see Spike coming out from Zero Zone. It seems to be working out pretty well for them so far. We see Rav speeding up his teammates. They're not actually going to be able to get in a very aggressive position, though, because BBA, they're all very low on health. Zero Zone is going to be a good position for them. They need to get a Barley Super, and then it could actually be a goal for them. But I mean, this is very peculiar that we see Belle coming out here. I mean, curious what role she's going to fulfill on these teams.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good though. Good push. That's the goal from Jamie as Zero Zone take the lead. By the way, fun fact, because I always called him Jaime, but it's actually like Jaime, I think, because it is a Spanish player, and I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. I think it's Jaime, but I could be wrong, man. I've been corrected so many times on it. Obviously, as a native Spanish speaker, it is not going to be the easiest time of my life, and I think I speak in your name as well here. But always fun to learn, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we actually do now see BBA. They are all pushing in very aggressively. They're getting Zero Zone in a similar position to what they were put in earlier. All they really need is for Adkins to get this super off and get massive control. Of course, the Barley 1v1 on the right lane is not going to do them any favors in allowing them to get more aggressive. Now, Zero Zone, they have the goal advantage. Just 10 seconds left in the match. Looks like they're going to be able to defend here. Rav not looking too pleased. That is going to be this first game going to Zero Zone Spain.
Yeah, interestingly enough, if I saw it correctly, I think Atkins is running the damage star power on the Barley, whereas Bruby was running the heal. And what I think is really interesting here is that overall, it seems like the damage is a bit more meta. The thing is, in a mirror matchup, where when you're facing a Barley and playing yourself a Barley, the heal is going to be very, very valuable because it just enables you to keep harassing your opponent and get some extra ground. Even if it means tanking a shot, if you shoot twice, you heal it back up pretty much, right? So I just think that's something that, you know, might be getting a bit overlooked. And it's really one of those, you know, star powers you're going to be playing specifically to be countering another party. And it really made a difference in those duels. It was constantly Bruby just getting that control, getting those shots down and pushing him back. So yeah, good stuff on that. And I feel like BB Army, they had some chances towards the end, but they weren't really able to find enough space to make it work. Also, Atkins, I believe, walked into the trap from Bell, which definitely did not help. You know, as a max, you're all about speed, going fast, and changing the pace of the game. And when you're slowed down for like, I think it's 3 seconds, something like that, maybe even longer, you're gonna have a tough time.
Yeah, that's really rough. I think now, I mean, even just after one game, we're able to see what sort of role that Bell is going to fulfill in this map. At least we could actually see it coming out in the following sets, though something BB Army, I mean, you know, they're good individual players, right? And you know, they came here to win, right? They came here for the prizing. I mean, because they have already established themselves as great competitive players, they don't really have anything to prove. They're here to win and then, you know, move on to the next task. But I think, you know, maybe they have underestimated their opponent just a little bit because they were relying on a really fast offense. They brought out the Bell, right, which is a bit of an, I mean, you know, since she has not really been tested, a bit of an iffy pick. And I mean, though, what we see from Zero Zone Spain, though, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but the Bell on Zero Zone Spain had 1260 trophies or like 1266. Like, they have practiced Bell a lot, and Bojo's Army, I mean, they definitely have their work cut out for them. Now they're going to have to find out how they're going to fare up against this Bell, who has, you know, clearly been doing her practice and drilling in the background and knows really how to make the best use of this brawler. We'll have to find out in this next game coming up. Yep, no longer do we see the Bell coming out from BBA, though. Zero Zone, they're sticking with it. They have a very confident Bell player, it would seem. BBA, though, they are, looks like they're switching Rav onto the Gene instead of the Max. Interesting to see here. Adkins, of course, still on that Barley. Zero Zone, though, they're bringing out the Tick this time instead of the Barley, or, well, rather, they're bringing out the Tick this time instead of switching out the Barley. So 2 throws coming out from Zero Zone that's going to give them a lot more control. And we actually see a nice aggressive trap positioning from Zero Zone. Looks like they're just going to be slowly edging up, just getting control gradually. That's going to be the super pass coming out from Zero Zone. It could actually be the first goal. Ooh,
oh,
wow,
nice defense from Carol
there. Unbelievable. But that last hurrah is going to secure that first goal for Zero Zone.
That was absolutely sick, but just not enough there as Zero Zone takes the lead early on once more. Atkins struggling a bit. I think he switched star power as well. I'm not too sure, or was that just the gadget? We'll see once he gets some shots down or starts healing up or not. Nope, he did not change. So that's something to keep in mind. And James takes a bit of damage. I think James switched as well, or I just didn't see it correctly earlier. That is very much possible as well. But so far, Zero Zone kind of just chilling, just waiting for BBA to go on an attack. And they have to. Nice pull on Bruby. That's going to be a kill before he can pop Lasura as well. So that's quite big at getting some more momentum. But with a nice snipe from Alice, it is going to slow down a bit. Carol does have super available. Going to pop it right now. He's pushing forward, but the tick head is enough to dissuade him from pursuing that route. And once again, BBA, they're in a good position, but they only have 25 seconds to find a goal out of it.
Yeah, Rav really needs to get the super here. He has the super, but is he going to be able to utilize it? He is getting completely cornered. That's going to be Barley getting that nice defense at Zero Zone. They have this one already. The question is, yep, they're just going to corner this ball and walk it up to mid. They are just going to be taking game number 2 and therefore set number 1. BBA, I don't think they expected this sort of match. I mean, they have been matched with a pretty tough opponent by the looks of things. Even when they bring out the Gene for the thrower counter, I mean, they're faced against 2 very long-range throwers, and they're on a map with just so many obstacles scattered all over the place that they have to be mindful of course, Bell's trap, which they don't want to be walking into. That blocks up some areas, right, and kind of zones them out. And, you know, now that Bell has been able to zone out one of those little choke points, we see the throwers just firing away at those choke points, and we don't even see Gene able to get in position. Even with the max speed is a challenge, because we see the tick mines going down to defend against Gene, even when he's in position with a pull Teddy.
Yeah, this is pretty close when it comes down to kills. Damage-wise is 50% higher for Zero Zone Spain, so interesting story. It seems like you know, Bojo's army were kind of able to just capitalize on that damage a bit more, but even then, I'm guessing that, you know, some of those extra kills may have been just more important kills. You always have kills that matter and some that matter a lot less, depending on if it actually gets you closer from completing your objective, in this case scoring, right, or getting a successful defense. So yeah, it just seems like Zero Zone were much more able to use those kills in a proper way, or get to the right kills at the right time. Anyways, GG Mortuary is up next, and this map is a bit of an interesting one. It is, you know, it is a competitive map. It is a map that is pretty much, you know, not very much loved, let's say, by the pro scene, and just because they don't really like the way it works and the way you kind of have like a zigzag way to the save, and there's no other way around it unless you bring in destruction or like a Dyna jump, maybe. You're gonna be ending up having Colts on both sides and brawlers that can just open up that map with you know, gadgets and super. So Colt very, very much the most picked brawler on this map. You see a bit of Nani as well for those long range snipes. You can see some Tick if you want to play it a bit more around the walls, but overall, what I've seen being played the most in EU was just going for 3 snipers and going for full-on destruction. One of the snipers can be switched off to a max as well, for example, because the movement speed is always nice. But that's, you know, roughly what I expect. And with Bell in the mix, that is definitely what we're going to be seeing. Crow, not exactly a sniper, but he does have some pretty solid range. He is very fast as well, and has a super that gives him some nice mobility to like jump on that safe or whatever not. So definitely a decent brawler as well. So far, it's been going a bit better for BBA, but just as I said, that they do get tagged quite heavily. They find a nice kill over on the left-hand side as D2Rav picks up his first kill of this game, and Zero Zone.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I mean, he got taken down now, but Jaime, like, for so long was dodging so many shots. It was like watching Neo in the Matrix, just juking the heck out of Adkins and Carol, opening up opportunities for Zero Zone to push through. I mean, definitely kept Carol and Adkins back. We did see a Zero Zone suffering some casualties on the left side, so that was unfortunate. Definitely saw Jaime holding it together and keeping that defense, keeping the fight at mid for Zero Zone, though we are going to see Adkins now get a kill here on Broody. And finally, we're going to see BBA able to push into mid, perhaps even take mid. They need to be able to get just a little bit of damage on the safe. Adkins now able to get this kill on Bell there. Carol just trying to stay alive against Broody. Broody coming back for revenge. Gonna maybe try and take out Adkins, though looks like actually this is a pretty fair fight. Now that we have a lot of the walls broken down, we're going to see a BBA really able to profit off of this one. Carol, of course, getting a nice kill there on Jaime. Looks like this one could be going to BBA if they're just able to keep this control right here.
Yes, and I think it's so funny because I said earlier, I think it's Jaime.
Oh,
I love how
Jaime,
you like, you know, not being Spanish, you just switched it to Jaime. Which is like the most like non-Spanish way to pronounce it probably, but it's so good, man. I really don't care about names. I was just saying it because, you know, it's very different to what it's written for us English speakers, so I thought it was interesting. But yeah, anyways, 10 seconds left here and it's all tied up. One shot on safe could make a difference. Is the Peep gonna be doing that? No, it's going down.
Ooh.
No chance from D2 Rav either. And we start off with a draw here for GG Mortuary.
Yeah, usually we do not see a draw in Heist. That is very, very rare. But GG Mortuary, I would say, you know, that is on the table just because it's so hard to get on your enemy safe. You're usually going to have just like barely a little bit of damage trickling in. And when you have like really small bits of damage that just come in gradually, then you know you do stand a greater chance of having those draws, though that is unfortunate because it looked like we did see the advantage actually going to BBA. So Zero Zone, they're going to have a little bit of intel on what BBA is going to be playing in this upcoming game. Looks like we've actually just switched up a little bit. Now we see the gold Mecha Crow coming out from Zero Zone. They're no longer running the default. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's against the rules to switch up the skin. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll give an advantage, right? Maybe a psychological thing. Though, looks like actually Zero Zone, they're getting a strong start. Now taking control of mid. Rav now having to fight this lane against Crow, which is definitely going to be an irritating one since he's completely outsped. Though, Adkins and Rav now securing this kill. This is going to be a great push through for BBA. Carol also getting a kill. We're going to see BBA keeping control of mid as they just try and break open some of these walls and open up opportunities to hit the safe.
Yeah, and I want to point out, Carol with that push, one of his hits got a connection on to the safe through a bounce, and that can actually make quite a bit of a difference. We have a ticket coming through. It is gonna connect, gonna find some more damage, but Zero Zone, they have the 1% lead, so now it's gonna be BBA's task to try to find that back. It's not gonna be easy because Zero Zone, they've been holding their ground pretty well since the beginning of this set, but BBA, they definitely just, you know, for the sake of safety, want to take the lead. Oh, nice snipe from Ruby.
Yeah, that was a great play there from Broody. We're going to see loads of damage coming in on this safe now. We just need to see Carol. Carol is actually going to go down there to Zero Zone. Zero Zone now bring this fight back to mid. Jaime now just trying to get a little bit of damage. Adkins gonna go down. Hey, I mean, you can't blame me. You changed his name to Trashkins. It's not me. Rav though also going down at Zero Zone. They're pushing back once again, and I gotta say this was really interesting to see from Jaime. I mean, he jumped in on 2 enemies and, you know, took a bunch of damage. Though we still saw the mid fight go back to Zero Zone. Now loads of damage actually coming in on the safe. That is the last brawler you want to be connecting with your safe is Colt. Rav now getting loads of damage. BBA, they are losing, or sorry, Zero Zone, they are losing the script that they had initially. Rav gonna go down, but there's simply not enough time for BBA to take this, take this L, I guess. Zero Zone, they are gonna go down. BBA taking this first win. Man, I got confused with those teams there, Teddy. My bad, y'all.
It happens to the best of us, man.
happens,
To
it
the best
happens.
of us. Yeah, I think that, you know, at this level of play, when you make too big of a mistake, it's gonna be a whole lot of damage raining down on your save. And I think Zero Zone may have gotten a bit too confident. You know, they were in a good position. They had an all right lead damage-wise. They had some better control. And BBA had to make a decision how they were going to defend that Bell, if they wanted to assess like two, one or three players to take her down. And instead, they only left the Bell 1v1 there just to buy some extra time. It was a bit of a struggle on Zero Zone side of things to clear that up. And on the other hand, the two other players from BBA decided to push up and try to find some value, and they won that fight. They got a team, not a team wipe, right? Because the Bell was still alive, but she was on the other side of the map, so it pretty much counts as a defense wipe, right? So that safe open for a couple of seconds, and there was just so much damage coming down on that red safe, and ultimately just no way to come back from Zero Zone from there.
Yeah, and especially the one brawler that was there able to defend was Jaime, right? And that was, or Jaime, gosh, I mean, don't, I hope I'm not tested on this later, man. But regardless, yeah, he was not able to defend that. Cole, he really does have trouble defending when he does have to peek around walls. I would definitely say Nanny or Bell are better suited for that task, and of course they were the ones on offense or had just gone down, as we saw BBA able to push on that defense. See Bruby now trying to take back this positioning on mid, almost getting some really nice shots actually on Adkins. Carroll with some nice dodges just out of reach of Zero Zone. Zero Zone, though, all they need to do is keep control of mid here, right? We saw this in the last game. They were able to keep control of mid, and once they get just a couple of picks, they're able to get Rav in on that safe, and that is the win condition. Rav getting some nice dodges, though this is definitely Bruby's fight here around the fence. Gonna see Rav back up all the way and wait for his lane matchup to come back, because having to fight against a brawler that has really good wall peek as a brawler like Colt, it's nearly impossible, and he would just be setting himself up for failure. So a nice decision there from Rav. Now going to go for this lane win against Jaime. We see all the members of BBA focusing in on that kill. Bruby also going down, and Rav is finally going to find this opening to get on that safe. Going to dodge out a super wow, and a nice juke there actually, or perhaps maybe a bit of a misplay there from Zero Zone, a wasted Colt super, but now we see sort of an opening now for Zero Zone. Rav trying to stay alive. We see the Nanny super coming in, the peep with the teleport. Bruby not able to juke out BBA though. Loads of damage advantage from BBA on Zero Zone. It's not looking too hopeful for Zero Zone here.
Definitely not, but if there's a time to clutch up, it's gonna be now, as Zero Zone are in the 15 last seconds of this game, potentially of this set. It doesn't really seem like they're able to get up close just yet. The way the walls are cut off, Ruby can't even get big shots of 3000 damage as two of his projectiles hit the walls, and BBA take this set. They are tying things up 1-1, and it seems like we got quite a match here ahead of us.
Yeah, I've got to hand it to you, Matt. Great prediction on saying this was going to be one of our closer, or perhaps our closest semifinal matches, because, you know, it looked like right off the bat that BBA, they didn't really know, you know, what their enemy was looking like. They weren't familiar with what Zero Zone Spain was about, because they brought out the Bell that they weren't super confident with. It sort of kind of bit them in the butt there. Zero Zone Spain, though, they have a very confident play on Bell there, and it seemed to play it to their advantage, at least in the first game, or first set, not in the second. Take a look, though, at the stats here, the comparison on the kills. We do see BB Army, they definitely had better control. They were able to bring that fight to mid consistently and just play it sort of passive, right? They did not play it needlessly aggressive. Zero Zone Spain, they managed to get on the safe a few times, but it was really because they got overly aggressive, and that is what opened up the opportunities for BBA to get on their safe. So they're going to have to keep that in mind coming into these next sets. Of course, different game modes. We're going to get into Magnetic Field, not one where you're necessarily trying to defend some objective near your spawn, but they are going to be playing for control of mid. It's something that BBA was able to do pretty well, so Zero Zone Spain, they're going to have to keep this in mind headed into this next map.
Yeah, this is a map where we saw, we saw it played twice, I think, already so far in the competition. Definitely an interesting one. I don't really hate it too much. I'm not very fond of teleporters in general. I think they are very confusing, and I think they are very disturbing. And I just like I hate them. Like I genuinely do. Like I find them fun in map maker and competitive. They like every time someone takes a teleporter, my soul just dies out a little bit. And I did see SK Gaming, for example, playing it very well, actually using it strategically and getting some very nicely timed pinches and using it at their advantage. Whereas some of the other teams, they were kind of like sure, it's there, but I don't really like teleporters either. I don't really want to use it. And it wasn't making things quite as interesting. We have a nice TP from Atkins, actually not quite expected by it's Remy, the one and only Remy, and he is going to get pinched by D2 Rav. So that's the kind of pinches that you can do. You can kind of get straight into their face, get in their backline, get some nice positioning, and it really shapes the map differently. Ruby kind of baiting to go for that TP. Is not going to do that just yet, as D2 Rav picks up a nice kill. Ruby will be able to trade it out on Atkins, but D2 goes for the flank. It's not going to be really a surprise, but one of the important things as well is on this map, it's going to depend a lot on your communication to be able to tell your teammates, like, okay, if they don't see them on the map, which can be possible depending on where they're standing, they need to tell each other, okay, he's near TP, he's about to TP, he's going in. That's info that is going to be extremely valuable. Otherwise, you're going to get flanked all the time.
Yeah, and I've got to say, like, as far as brawlers that would use the TP, I was not actually too surprised to see the Sandy, right? Because Sandy is a great brawler for ambushing. And, also we see that teleporter is surrounded by some walls, and Sandy has a great wall peek. So I would not, of course, be too surprised to see Sandy take that teleporter again. We see Remy taking that teleporter, looking to get this pinch on Carol. Is he going to be able to get the pinch? Yes, with the help of Broody, able to secure that pinch. Rav now also getting 2v1'd there by Remy and Broody. Remy with the heal to keep in the battle. Atkins now suffering since he's at a health deficit. Remy still in a great position, able to take out Atkins. We're going to see Zero Zone actually keep control of this mid as BBA. They have a tough battle on their plate at the moment.
Yeah, BBA, it doesn't really seem like they should get into that middle anytime soon. They have a nice Sandy super, but it's not quite gonna be enough as Zero Zone Spain takes the first game of Hot Zone in quite a convincing way for them to kick things off here. Honestly, I feel like there isn't too much to say. Zero Zone Spain just playing better overall. They were hitting more shots, but not only that, they were also playing better as a team. We had a really good start from BBA Army. I really like that pinch, whereas usually on something like that, the kind of like how you would expect opponents to push you and pinch you would be for one player to push you up and then the other one to TP in. Here they did the opposite. The TP went in before the push, and it really caught Zero Zone off guard, because that's not really the natural instinct you have, right? Because the TP is kind of like your secret boot, and using it first off, really interesting play. I really like that. After that, there wasn't too much to say about BB Army. It was all a Zero Zone Spain show.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just talking about the teleport, it's great how you explained it. We see them taking the teleport first and then getting that pinch, right? And because just eliminating your opponent's retreat strategy is great for getting a pinch. It's not just about attacking them from two different directions. It's about knowing where your opponent's going to go and controlling where your opponent's going to go. That's why pinching is such a powerful strategy. And that's why you hear us talk about it so much, because a great player can dodge in a 1v1 situation, but, a 2v2 or just a 2v1 situation are very tough to deal with, because now your escape route is much more limited. At this level of play, it is very important to, have some sort of knowledge or try and get control over where your opponent is going to move. Because if you have control over where your opponent's going to move, you can just put them wherever you want, put them right in the line of fire, set up opportunities for your teammates. That is really the power of being able to teleport first or just set up these pinches with the teleports. We're seeing really great use of that from Zero Zone. They're looks like might be able to take out D2Rev. D2Rev getting a kill, but also getting it taken down in the process. BBA, though, now looking like they could take this point. We see Carol now putting some of those traffic gadgets on the hot zone, not necessarily in a area where people are going to walk a lot. It looks like Hamey is going to be baiting out one of those. Hamey unfortunately got taken down by the Crow poison.
D2
And man, Rav going insane on the Crow. Yeah, going absolutely nuts on the Crow. It is just going back and forth, though by the outlook of this match so far, it looks like it'll probably go to Zero Zone. Just the Amber seems to be too strong for BBA to deal with at this moment.
Yeah, they haven't really found a consistent way of beating her. Oh, we have a bit of a TP on both sides over there. Hamey low HP, D2Rev jumping in. He's going to find one. He does fall to Alice, but Atkins is able to heal up full HP. Carol clean things up on the bottom side of the map. That's going to be BA back in control. And maybe a chance to find some more nice shots from Carol and Atkins. They are going to find two. And this is looking much better from the British team. It is their chance to close out this game, tie things up once more. The TP back from Jamie, or Jamie rather, to push up and you know, get a bit of a flank. He finds one kill. This could get reverse Carol. He should just have stayed in the zone because it's only 2%. But I think that BBA, they should just be able to walk in here, get that capture point locked down, and secure this game.
Wow, and we saw excellent plays from Bell there. I mean, really got close to winning that 2v1 there. Just simply did not have enough shots in the chamber to take out both players. Got very, very close, though. If it had been, you know, not just like 2%, then we actually could have seen a bit of a turnaround, right? We could have actually seen that match go the way of Zero Zone, just because, you know, after that, you only have one player from BBA coming back to the point, and that would have been a decisive victory for Zero Zone. So this one is actually very, very close. I mean, we're in the semifinals. You said this was going to be a close match. We've gone 1-1, and now in set number 3, we're going 1-1. So we're not even advancing into the next set yet. No one really has an advantage over the other. This is the closest it can get in the middle of this match.
Yeah, it's an important set to win as well, because if you manage to get, you know, that set lead right now and get to 2 sets in the bank, it kind of puts you in a position where your opponents don't have a whole lot of room to work with, and it just means that they end up having to kind of take some rush decisions and be extremely, you know, proactive, because otherwise it's just gonna slip away. And just, you know, momentum wise as well, like, you know, maybe you have a game mode that your team is not very good at. If it's still in the mix and your opponents already are only 1 set away from winning the match, then you have to win a set you're not comfortable at. So this is definitely something to keep in mind, especially when it comes to those maps that are a bit less familiar, where some of the teams are going to be less comfortable on. You don't want to end up you know, in a situation where if the order of the maps were different, you could have won. You just need to be versatile enough.
Yeah, and now we're going to be getting into the final game of set number 3. Our brawlers are the same as last game. It doesn't look like BBA are going to be bringing out anything to deal with Amber. I mean, Amber was giving them a lot of trouble, but they have found, it looks like, some sort of a method for getting rid of her. We're going to see Rav get very aggressive on this right lane. Jamie really trying to win this left lane. It manages to get the win, but is now forced to fight a 1v2. Ruby coming in to help out with D2 Rev, and we are going to see Zero Zone looks like sort of take back control of mid. They have the advantage of the Sandstorm, though they're going to have to deal with Adkins on the left side. Jamie now going to get this kill on Adkins as well, despite all assistance from Carol. Carol also going to go down. Rav now forced to retreat, and this is a bit of a wasted Sandstorm now from BBA, and that is very unfortunate news for them. Adkins probably not going to struggle to get that super back. Looks like he's actually going to go down before being able to get that super. Rav also going to go down, and Bruby getting some nice dodges their Zero Zone. They have gotten pretty good control. They are just bobbing and weaving, rolling with the punches of BBA. None of them are really going down. Actually, gonna see Jaime take this, or well, actually being taken down just now. Zero Zone still, they are fighting for their lives on this point. Carol gonna get a kill as well. And Zero Zone, I mean, they are staying on this point. BBA, they're basically throwing themselves at the point, winning some interactions, but not being able to win it the overall battle.
Yeah, this is looking like the end of this set. We need a miracle from BBA, and I don't think it's coming. Zero Zone taking this game and set home. They take the lead in game mode as well, as they are now 2-1 versus BBA. Solid performance from Zero Zone. Absolutely worthy of taking this set for sure. Yeah, I feel like BBA showed some nice stuff in this set, especially that second game was like just a mad comeback. But here in game 3, they weren't really able to pop off quite as much. And I think that it's very much due to D2 Rav not really being able to pump off as much as he did in game 2. Like in game 2, he was just wilding, man. He just kept jumping around, getting like 3k damage on people with his super, while killing like, you know, the person that he was nearby to in the first place, since the super like shoots twice. Absolutely mad stuff from D2 Rav in game 2. Single-handedly really like turned things around. And even for the rest of the team, like mechanically, they were hitting some insane shots. I'm thinking about Carol as well. Some really nice pinches from Atkins. In game 3, we didn't really have any of that. And it just meant that Zero Zone, you know, their teamwork is a bit more consistent. And they didn't really need to rely on any sort of clutches to win that one. Deathcap Trap is going to be our next map ready. Do you have any brawler picks that you feel like could be pick worthy here?
Yeah, I mean, definitely gonna have Bell. I bet we could also actually see something like an 8-bit, maybe even a Pam, right? Some of our spawner friends. Could also see Jessie, though I don't know exactly why you'd run Jessie when Bell is now in the game. A bit unfortunate for Jessie because we saw a major comeback for her, but it seems like, you know, now her job is done a little bit better by Bell. So, well, we'll have to see. But I mean, I think Pam is probably one of the stronger picks here. We actually could see the Poco coming out as well, sort of a healer-focused comp, because like we saw in Hot Zone in match number 1 for today, that was you know, that was a powerful strat to run the triple healer. Could see Byron as well. So loads of different brawlers that we could see here. It's a fairly open gym grab map, so you're going to want long-range brawlers that can stay alive and get good control.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be, you know, it's a decent map. You have a lot of possibilities regarding comps. I think you can go for those more snipey comps from afar. You can go for some more control-based comps as well. I think Jean would be a decent pick as well, just because it's really easy to hit those shots, especially if you're facing some sort of a sniper. You can kind of tag him, whereas you're much more able to dodge the shots. But it's looking like a Bell fight-off in the center and a mirror matchup, actually.
Yeah, mirror matchup indeed, down to the lane interactions. Looks like actually Zero Zone might have the advantage here. They have Sandy in more of an advantageous position. Rav really getting pinched between two brawlers here. It doesn't look like either team wants to advance towards mid. They want to win this fight before they try and grab any gems. Carol actually got quite aggressive there and got hit a couple times by Broovy. Trashkins, though, came in for the support. Sorry, Adkins. Excuse me on that one, Adkins. I'm sorry, man. But, of course, Sandstorm coming in to get some control for Zero Zone. Jaime once again trying to get loads of damage and control, just rotating over to whatever side he really needs, as well as Zero Zone. They're going to get 8 gems here, now about to pick up the 9th. Looks like they have effectively spawn trapped at BBA, and I didn't see it from the get-go, but I can totally see now how you can get spawn trapped, because your spawn area is fairly open and there are only choke points to get out of it.
Yeah, that is very much correct, and this is not looking all that good for BBA. Zero Zone should be able to get to match point. Nothing BBA can do about that. So 2 match points coming up in favor of Zero Zone. BBA, they pretty much need a miracle at this point if they want to get back into this match, because Zero Zone, it seems like they are about to run away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I did not really expect this coming in because we saw Bojo's Barmy Army, right? There's some good individual players, but we actually saw better teamwork from Zero Zone Spain. And now they brought us to the match point. It could not be closer. So, I mean, as I always say, only time will tell. We're going to have to get into this next match in Zero Zone Spain. I mean, if they bring out that OP Bell like they usually do, Bojo's Barmy Army, they're really going to have their work cut out for them. She's not been in the game for that long, so it's tough to find an actual counter for her. We might actually maybe see a Piper or something like that, like a better sniper duelist to deal with her. That could definitely be the play here. Perhaps maybe the Crow coming out once again to assist the Piper, though. I mean, you know, that is a bit of a less common pick. We'll probably still see the Sandy coming out just for that Sandstorm. We'll have to see getting into our next game. The Brawlers coming out from BBA. We got the Tick, the Bell, and the Barley. So the double thrower plus the Bell. Then coming out from Zero Zone. It is a similar comp to last time. They switched out for a Max, though. Max probably going to help them get that Sandy onto some more targets. We already see Brooby with the speed, actually using it to flee. Perhaps also the max speed would be a good counter to the Bell, just to get on that trap, right? Disarm it, just, you know, get it to expire and be able to speed away. Ruby's able to get a couple gems here, speed up Bell, and we're gonna see actually Zero Zone really locking down control here. They are also gonna try again and spawn trap at BBA. It almost works. Adkins forced back. Harold also not in a good position. 2 gems left for a Zero Zone to grab to win this entire match.
Yeah, and the thing is, it almost worked, but on the other hand, they had one player there holding off 2 players for like 20 seconds in their spawn, which is more than enough time for Zero Zone to just be stacking up those gems. So I think that's, oh, nice snipe from Carol. Brooby is quite low HP as well. He has the marker on his head. Is that enough for D2F to take him out? It certainly is, but he is getting trapped, and he's bringing the gems closer to their spawn as well. It's going to be Jaime sitting on 11, and BBA, they have a dream, but for that they need to take him down, and it's not really looking very likely at this 0.6 seconds left. He is all the way back into his spawn, and no one is in range. That's Zero Zone running away with this match and moving on to the grand finals.
Wow, and the spins too. I mean, yep, that is going to be Zero Zone moving on to the finals, where they'll be facing up against Sky Blue. 2 teams that we saw have really great performances, but they still went 3-1 in their respective matches. So it's hard to tell by the score alone who is going to fare better. We saw, as I said, great performances from both teams. Zero Zone Spain, though, they look pretty good with their teamwork and their picking of comps. Of course, that is also going to drop at BBA down to the elimination match. That is going to be the next match coming up. They'll be faced against Noble Elite Croco. And Teddy, just judging by the performance that we had in these past 2 matches, what are you expecting for the outcome of this upcoming elimination match?
I honestly think that the match we just saw had the 2 best teams in this group. So I'm expecting both teams that just played right now to take this one home. Look at this one, though. This set, only 3 kills for BB Army. That's a tough result, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely chalk this up to a result of the really passive gameplay from both sides, right? No one really wanted to make the move on mid. We actually did end up seeing BB Army be the first one to make the move on mid, and we did see Zero Zone Spain really take advantage of that, right? Passive playstyles, you know, pretty much all the time beat aggressive playstyles. And if you know your enemy and you know how your enemy plays, if you know they're going to play aggressive, you can just wait for them to put themselves in a dangerous position and then completely capitalize on it. It's something that, I mean, I've seen in my personal region. I've seen like in A, I mean, you know, we recognize that certain players have aggressive playstyles, and we know exactly how to capitalize on that. Zero Zone Spain looks like they knew their enemy this time. They were able to defeat the aggressive playstyle with the passive playstyle.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. We are going to be looking at some highlights of this match before we move on to the lower bracket finals.
зовут Глеб, мне 17 лет, я из Москвы, выступаю под игровым никнеймом Space. Моя команда называется Noble Elite Croco. Я собрал команду примерно 2 месяца назад. Первый мой тиммейт — это Лайфпул. Мы играем с ним не так давно, но добиваемся уже хороших успехов. И второй тиммейт — это Трик. Я с ним играю уже более 9 месяцев. Также участвовал вместе с ним на первом сезоне Gamestars. В прошлом сезоне наша команда называлась From Old Nuke. Мы дошли в топ-8. Как я знаю, у Трика любимый боец — это Пайпер. У Лайфпула точно не скажу, но, наверное, предположу, что это Кольт. У меня любимый боец — это Мортис. Мне нравятся мобильные персонажи, и из этого персонажа легко вывозить катку проигранную и камбэкать. Мы ставим цели показать себя как индивидуальных игроков, показать, на что мы способны, и добиваться больших успехов в турнирной сфере. На самом деле, зачастую интерес в каждой игре — это провести время хорошо, но также мы хотим добиться больших успехов. Например, планка у нас топ-3. Вот это прям минимальная планка, которую мы хотим достичь. Наш принципиальный соперник — это команда Vegas прошлое, сейчас это Blood Diamond. Очень хочется взять реванш за все обиды и проигранные катки. Мы каждую неделю катаем очень много скримов, тренируем нашу взаимодействие наше. И с каждым обновлением баланса, с каждым новым выходом персонажа мы тренируемся все больше и больше, потому что мета меняется, связки меняются, и надо подстраиваться под каждый, чтобы иметь самый высокий результат. Будем биться, я видел, против сильной команды Zero Zone Испания. Это очень сильная команда. Я надеюсь, что мы встретимся с ними как минимум один раз, и очень достойно должны показать себя против них. Я хочу пожелать нашей команде выступить максимально удачно, выжать из себя все возможности, а также хочу поблагодарить каждого, кто поддерживает меня, нашу команду в целом. Это сердце для вас. Я не знаю, кто у нас тут может выглядеть. Пусть как-то будет вот так вот, да. Я надеюсь, вот. Это, конечно, все для вас. Спасибо за поддержку всем, и мы еще покажем себя.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a nice little break there. Got to spectate our interview that we had with one of the players. And that is going to take us into the third match of the day. It's the elimination match. It's between Noble Elite Croco and Bojo's Barmy Army, otherwise known as BBA. Teddy, we saw great performances from both of these teams, but I believe you said that the teams that we had play in match 2 are going to be the ones who end up moving on to the decider match on May 6th and the final. I mean, what do you got to say about that?
I just feel like overall, if you look at their competitive experience, both teams, or at least the players in both teams, Noble has the advantage of having an appearance in monthly finals, which I think only Carol does. I think D2Rav might have had one appearance as well. Not entirely sure though, but the big difference though is going to be the regions, right? On the one hand, you have Noble Elite from Russia, which is getting better and better at Brawl Stars, but it's not quite as competitive as EU, which is kind of, where BB Army, they just got so much experience playing with the best of the best in such a stacked region that I think this is going to be giving them a bit of an advantage coming into this one. However, I mean, it can also go the other way around in the sense that Noble Elite, they have the advantage of playing in a different region, maybe having some different experiences that they can bring on the table. So I'm excited to find out, but looking at today's form as well, I do feel like BB Army was, standing a bit more of a chance, especially since they played against a tougher team as in Zero Zone Spain.
Oh, absolutely. Noble Elite Croco, they also, had quite a bit of trouble against Sky Blue. So, I mean, definitely the underdogs going into this match. Though, also headed into this match, let's take a look at the maps for each set. Set number 1 is going to be on Bot Riot. Then set number 2 on Triumvirate. Set number 3 on Undermine. That is a map that I have not seen in a while, but you love to see it. Set number 4, though. Okay.
Oh, no.
Purple
Oh, no.
Paradise. Oh my gosh, set number 5, Snaked Assault. Okay, set number 4, please, I'm begging. I mean, we can get close to 3-0, but I'm begging these teams, please just take us to set 4, right? Just give a win, you know, maybe spin for the enemy. I want to see Purple Paradise. It is going to be such an amazing match. But we do have the bans coming in, so we can get a look at how this match is going to pan out. Teddy, I mean, we got Stu, we got Bell banned out of the way. These are some brawlers that we saw giving people a lot of trouble in the previous matches.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like Noble, they just saw them, you know, playing Bell in literally every single game. So it makes sense to go for the ban. Stu is kind of the go-to ban, still very, very strong, very mobile, very much an aggressive brawler that can absolutely solo carry a team and that you have to play if you don't ban it. So it makes sense that you ban it. What can we say about this one? Purple Paradise is going to be interesting because, you know, we're getting used to the non-competitive maps. I'm not getting used to the 1v1 maps just yet, especially in a knockout level. This is going to be quite brutal for the teams, and it's going to come down much more to mechanics for that one, and definitely not going to be an easy time for either sides. Definitely a bit of a more stressful map. What scares me the most about that map specifically is that it can get a bit still because there's no cover. Teams might tend to just play it off the max range, but we are ready to hop in, and it's BBA with early control. Do they manage to tie things up here? I think they do. Yeah, it's going to be a draw for siege bot number 1.
Yeah, a max-centric comp from both teams. It looks like BBA, they're going even more centered around Carol on the max. Rav, once again, we see him on that Gene. So the deal with the max comp, just to give a little bit of background, you have 2 brawlers that do really well with max speed. One of them is Sandy. Sandy has good range, he has good speed already, but he has crazy burst damage. Then, of course, you have Gene. Gene is able to get some really long range pulls with max speed. He's able to pull the bot almost all the way to the edge of the Ike. To Rav getting a nice kill there. Carol gonna get pulled. Ooh, and a nice counter there from Carol, able to gadget out of the radius of the Ike. That's gonna be BBA actually taking this siege bot, and they're actually looking pretty good on the final siege bot. And wow, just completely denying Noble Elite here, Teddy.
Level 15 siege bot. And he's absolutely tapping down those players. He's not going to find as much damage as you would expect since, you know, BBA is not really committing. But for just a siege bot and all 3 players, oh, they're all in the bush. They are going to get scouted here. I'm not so sure. I don't know what the plan was here. Maybe to kind of jump on someone 3 at once. But against a Surge, that can get quite deadly, you know? Like 1 shot and it kills like 3 shots and it kills 3 players, you know? But it seems like it's all good for now. We do have a bit of a man advantage once again, and it's gonna stay like that. BBA have the bold lead, they get this siege bot, and with that they get game 1 secured as well.
Yeah, looking very good for BBA here. Nice, clean play. Another thing, they managed to get a level 15 bot on the second siege, which is just astounding. Meaning they probably, well, they tied the first bot, right? And then they were able to get that second one powered up so much. We're gonna have to see some sort of preparation for this from a Noble Elite Croco. They didn't come out with a bad comp, right? And they actually were playing it quite well. But BBA, they simply, I think, outplayed them, outcomped them just a little bit, since they did have the Sandy coming in there, right? Just did better with the max. I don't think the max Surge combo was really that strong. Surge usually see it played because he has that green button, right? He has that gadget that allows him to teleport through the walls. Not that advantageous here because you do have passages through the walls, as well as, I mean, well, we didn't see any throwers actually coming out from BBA, so there wasn't much for him to counter here.
Yeah, and he was himself getting countered a bit by the Sandy, to be honest. Because in that duel, they end up both killing each other in 4 shots. And I think that Sandy shoots a bit faster, which means she gets to reload her fourth shot a bit faster as well, and basically win that fight. The only way for Surge to win it is pretty much if he is able to get his super down and get that extra damage on to just straight up land on the face of the Max. But that's going to be pretty rare because the Max doesn't want to be that up close to you, because she's aware that you're a Surge, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and take a look at our comps once again. I mean, it is the mirror match this time. Oh, and I'm going to pat myself on the back. I love myself for predicting this one. The OP Max comp coming out from both teams, some of the most common brawlers that we've seen in this competition. It's just Max, Sandy, and Jean. I didn't expect to see Jean in the context of being a lane brawler, but here we are. This Siege bot coming to Noble Elite's safe. They're going to get an okay defense here. They're going to take some damage. Lifepool actually was managing to heal up his teammates, though. That was actually pretty nice tanking the bot. They just didn't do a whole lot of damage right before it made it into their spawn to connect with their Ike, though. BBA keeping control. They're able to almost farm up this next super on Sandy, and they're going to try and keep the Sandstorm always flowing. A nice pull there, and it just goes to illustrate the power of Jean on Siege. You're able to reduce your enemy's power, just pulling people out of position. Another great pull, and a level 7 Siege bot going to BBA. This is going to be tough for Noble Elite to come back from because they are really most powerful on the defense right next to the Ike. And as you really explained well earlier, Teddy, they have to sacrifice control of mid for damage on the bot for the defense, right? And now they're gonna have to push into the Sandstorm and hopefully somehow pick up this 2-bolt deficit.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy task. They do find a nice kill. Carol jumping in. Oh, he can't quite find any kills, but D2Rav finds one. Lifepool is going to get pulled as well under Ike. Fire, he goes down. 6 bolts on each side. Trick actually is going to give the bolt lead to Noble Elite. I think that, yeah, that is going to be a siege battle for Noble Elite, Kroko, and their chance to win this game because it's only a 10% damage difference, so they can definitely get there. Max gonna dive in, finds a bit of value, but that leaves the Ike pretty much undefended, and there's just nothing that BBA can do at this point. Noble Elite take this game home. It was close. It did feel like BBA dominated through like 80% of it, but the final 20% are the ones that matter here.
Oh yeah, and that really does stink for BBA because they did have really great control the entire game. They just lost it on the final siege, and that is what allowed Noble Elite Kroko to push through. Disappointing, absolutely, for BBA. They're gonna have to think about this in the upcoming rounds. Maybe they do want to get a really high-powered bot, and you know, I think maybe the main thing that we need to actually see from BBA is not just going for control on every single push. They need to actually commit with the bot, because they did have some nice opportunities to commit with the bot, but for some reason they would rather wait at mid for the next siege and sort of stack up in one position. So maybe it was like, maybe they just want to get in their enemies' heads, right, and make them feel like they're always losing just by always winning the mid fight, because they've set it up in a way that's very tough for Noble Elite Kroko to win. But, I mean, at this point now, they need a play to win. We saw them just kind of messing around with some different strats in their first match today, and unfortunately that did work to their detriment. So, you know, they don't want to get eliminated here. We're going to have to see a change up in the strategy, and we actually do see a massive change up in the strategy from Noble Elite Kroko. They are running the Poco, well, actually double healer tank here.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I'm not entirely sure why. One thing that I do want to point out is in the previous game, Noble Elite, they had to clutch up massively. Like, they were not comfortable in that game whatsoever. It's just because they managed to find some clutch kills towards the end that they even stood a chance of winning that one. This time, it is going to be a bit of a different story early on. A lot of bolts on the side of BBA, but that first siege bot was a draw. So draws can really turn things around and make things very weird, because you end up having a super big siege bot instead of siege bot number 2, and then the other team might have a big lead. Look at this, bolt-wise, it's kind of all over the place. Both teams with a lot of bolts, and the team that doesn't get this siege bot is gonna have an extremely tough time catching up for the next one.
Yeah, and really, I think the real reason Noble Elite is bringing out the tank-centric comp here is because they want to be able to deal with the GG. And we actually saw this in some of the previous matches, just GG is just not able to deal with the healing-centric comp. It's a real struggle. Look at this, level 9 CG coming in for BBA. They barely managed to get this bot. Actually, it was a level 9, and we saw right afterwards, there's a Noble Elite. They got that 10th bolt. So this is going to be a tough one for BBA to come back from. Really, it comes down to how many bolts can Noble Elite pick up to power their bot even more. This is going to be the advantage for playing as we head into the last few seconds of the CC. It's an impossible lead for BBA. It's going to come down to who can have control.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolutely tough.
Welcome back, y'all. That was an exhilarating match that we just came off of. So, I mean, headed into this next game, Teddy, this is gonna be real interesting. I mean, that was a really tough set 1, and going into set 2, I mean, Noble Elite Croco, they're looking actually a bit better than we were anticipating. We were expecting, BBA to have sort of an easy fight here, just judging by their individual skill as players, especially though also Noble Elite Croco's performance in set number 1 wasn't bad, right? But I don't know if it was really up to par with what BBA is bringing to the table.
Honestly, I think it was a lot less close than it looked in a way, because like Noble Elite, they won off one clutch. The game they won was off one clutch, which is really inconsistent, and it definitely props to them for making it happen, right? But the question is, can they make that happen consistently? Because right after that game, we had an insane clutch from BBA, man. They were behind 8 bolts, and they managed to tie up that final siege ball. That is quite impressive. I think that coming into other game modes where there's going to be a bit less of that aspect, it's definitely going to be favoring BBA more, in my opinion. And if you look at that, man, in Siege, that's what I'm talking about. Like, they have 3 times more kills. That's not really what I would consider close. And sure, it is what it is, right? Like, it got close, but I think it kind of got it just looked a lot closer than it really was, in my opinion. Like, in that specific set, it was close, but I don't feel like it's the tone of the rest of the match. Triumvirate, if I pronounce that correctly, 3-zone map. I played it yesterday in Power League. I think it was my worst nightmare. But we'll see how the teams here can adapt. As BBA, they get middle control. They're deciding to not spread out too much and basically give them the bottom zone for the time being. We'll see how that pans out for the rest of this game. LifePool getting slowed down by D2. He has some nice control trick going for the push onto D2 Rav. Well, that's going to be an easy kill.
Wow, this is a very confusing map, I'm gonna confess, because it's just all over the place. You spawn one place and you can go one of 3 different areas. We see Trick going for mid, then going for the lane more towards the bottom. Rav able to get this bottom lane. Look how fast the percentage moves, actually, because there are 3 zones to capture, and we see someone on each one of them. BBA, they have the advantage here. I think what really works to the advantage of BBA here is that they're talented individual players. A nice move there, actually, from Carol with a surprise death from above. Jesse turret going in there. Lifepool having a tough time as well against Amber. I mean, this is a peculiar map, but it looks like BBA, they've handled it pretty gracefully. Noble Elite, they're going to have a very tough time headed into the following game because, I mean, there's just so much confusion going on here. It's so tough to see what comp is going to work well here because these brawlers, they don't necessarily need to work well together all of the time because most of the time it seems that the fights are individual. They're one-on-ones since there are 3 different brawlers on the team and 3 different zones to capture, though without a doubt this one is going to be going to BBA. Looks like Swoosh is actually putting up a nice fight on this back right point. Could actually turn around quite a bit. BBA defending this top left point very well. Brab is the only one who seems to be able to get onto this point. He's going to need to get a super in order to get on it. Less than 1 minute left in the match. This one could be a match that BBA wins on time expiring, but Rav not able to get even a percentage point on that zone. Trick just trying to get on that point as well. It is the same scenario for both teams. Both of them need to capture the point close to their enemy, but that is going to be this one going to BBA. But man, Noble Elite, they really hung in there and drug this one out to the end.
Yeah, man, I just want to put out the Tara there, just fighting for her life and just probably being on like a 10 kill streak at some point towards the end, just never going down, constantly holding her ground and taking them down. I think it was Carol on the Jessie that just kept like jump padding in the zone and getting instantly like tree tapped. That was quite an interesting strategy because he wasn't even landing in the zone, he was landing right in front of it, so he wasn't even capturing anything by doing that. I get the point, you know, just to land and hit as many shots as you can and, like, you know, at some point to come there with a super and try to do the same. But yeah, it just took a really long time for them to get those final 2 percentages.
Yeah, and it was really tough to watch. I'm gonna confess, though. BBA headed into this last match. I mean, it looks like now they're being met with Noble Elite running. It looks like the same comp, or they're making at least one adjustment. Right now, they're switching onto the Crow because they saw it worked pretty well for BBA. It got them, you know, some long range control and able just to sort of whittle down the opponent and gradually win that hot zone on the opposing end. Though Noble Elite, they're looking very, very good right here. Swoosh now going down on that back point. Wow, a double kill there coming out of Trick. Looks like Noble Elite, though, they're going to be winning this back left point. It is the tough one for them to win. So BBA, they're going to be playing at a disadvantage as they try and cap at this point down to the bottom right. Swoosh now with a furious 1v1 against Carol. Looks like Carol could end up winning this one. Swoosh going to go for this close range kill as well. This fight is just all over the place, though. Noble Elite, if they can stay on this back left point and this bottom right one, they could actually take this set. Looks like Noble Elite is going to take this one in a much more decisive victory than the first game. That is going to bring our second set, just like the first, to 1-1.
Yeah, this is getting pretty intense, to be honest. And, you know, something that can happen here with maps like this that are barely played, you know, in any sort of competitive setting, that are not getting scrimmed, etc. It can kind of favor the less prepared teams. Like, if both teams don't really prepare for it, there's going to be less of an advantage of knowing the map really well, right? So it comes down more to like improvising skills, which, you know, I don't know Noble Elite like Croco very well, but maybe they really like to play a lot of ladder, and then they're going to be encountering this map and maybe build up a bit of an edge around there. So the skill set and the knowledge base is slightly different when it comes down to this format. So it's definitely something to keep in mind here for our contestants, and why some of the results are different than what we expect. We are in for game number 3 in Hot Zone. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the map without like straight up reading it when the name is in front of me, because it is a bit of a nightmare of a name.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're here on Triumvirate. Looking at our brawlers, we have seen some adjustments throughout the course of this set. Looks like the last adjustment that Noble Elite made was able to secure them a victory in the last game, though, I mean, no adjustment, it seems, from BBA. Noble Elite, they are still keeping control. BBA, they actually did switch onto the Tara, which is a bit uncharacteristic of them, though it worked out for Noble Elite. Saw Noble Elite doing pretty well on the Tara in their match against Sky Blue, or at least they picked Tara a lot. So maybe Tara is not really the win condition here for Noble Elite. I think maybe BBA's abilities as far as choosing the mirror match are a bit misguided. We'll have to see, though. It actually looks like this percentage is going to tie up. Both of them have just 34% remaining to go on their respective objectives. BBA actually looking to take this one as they are ahead by just a few percentage points. And now Noble Elite going to take back the lead. It could go this way. This fight is absolutely all over the place. Swoosh and Trick trying to get this middle point. Carol, though, keeping them away. A 3-man pinch coming in to take out Swoosh. Lifepool, though, looking to get this kill as well. Trick also going for the pinch. I mean, this map, as far as the spawn points, it's just pinch city. Swoosh almost going to get that kill onto Crow. We're going to see Carol now once again just try and keep control here of mid. He needs to be able to get on mid. Rav able to take this back right point, if not just for a little bit. Trick firing away all of his shots, might even run out of ammo. And BBA, though, looks to be in control here as far as the percentage points go.
Oh, nice double pull. It doesn't quite find a kill. It is gonna help slow things down a bit, as Carol doesn't decide to go for the jump just yet, wants to capture a bit longer. Nice damage there from Carol, but Lifepool is able to dodge some of it with a jump of his own. The Giraffe falls to Lifepool. 1% though is all they need to take this home, and that's gonna be it. BBA takes set number 2 as well, and they go the distance. When you look at the scoreboard, since they are leading by 2 sets now, 1 more is required to move on to the decider match, kind of the lower bracket, right? The knockout match, the I forgot the name. How would you call that?
Decider match, I guess. Another elimination match.
I guess that works, right?
Decider match. Decider match is what our bracket says. And I think, Teddy, if you're correct, that's where they stand a chance of facing off against Sky Blue, right? Because you were saying earlier, we think Zero Zone is actually going to take first place today. That is going to be the falling match. You won't want to miss it. You got to stick around. Though, let's take a look, actually, at our stats from this last set. Of course, BBA, they were able to take this set. Noble Elite, though, we were saying that in the first set, it was not really a decisive victory for them on that one game that they were able to win, though they did come a lot closer in this last set. From the get-go of the final 2 games in the set, they were looking pretty good, though even with that, we still see BB Army with the superior stats. But the BB Army, they just need to keep this momentum going into the final set, or well, it could be the final set for them if they end up winning it. Set number 3, take a look. We're here on Undermine, and our brawlers are going to be from Noble Elite. We have the Crow, the Piper, and the Tara. Characteristic Tara coming out from Noble Elite. We haven't seen the Piper play yet, actually, though BBA, they're bringing out the Crow, the Sprout, and the Tara. So once again, bringing out the Tara to, I guess, match Noble Elite. They're going for the Tara 1v1 on this lane, because we actually did see a BBA switch over their lanes. Just, small adjustments so they can get an even lane matchup.
Yeah, I really like how there are very different strategies here when it comes to the middle area, where on one side it's all about the snipes on Trick, and he is going to be falling to Carol on the Sprout that can just utilize those walls a bit better. And also, on this map, it's going to be pretty passive in the middle area, and having a Chore can really help out getting some shots on the other lanes and helping pinch your opponents while not really moving away from your lane, not really losing any opportunities. You see, he gets a shot on Lifepool, and that actually helps D2Rav win that fight. Trick will jump away to open up that wall. I'm not sure if that's going to be the best for him. Definitely better than having Carol just standing behind it and spamming some more shots and walls, but he can just make some walls of his own, getting Trick low HP and getting a countdown secured for BBA.
Yeah, this is, look at the difference in the brawlers here. Wow, almost saw that shot hit D2 Rav. Rav giving the thumbs down for the BM. Noble Elite, they really were struggling here because they did get hit with a Sprout counter. This comp really seems to center around Piper, getting all those gems at mid, but BBA was able to counter that with a Sprout at mid. Sprout is a powerful mid to begin with, but I mean, against Piper is a complete hard counter, especially when Sprout is able to put down some walls to eliminate those bushes. Usually we see Piper rely on the bushes quite a bit for ambush to get that extra bit of damage. So that's something that we're gonna have to see Noble Elite Croco anticipate coming into this last match. Maybe they'll bring out the Mortis. I don't think it'll come out though. I mean, Mortis would be a nice counter for the Sprout, but it would be a very specific pick for a very specific brawler. And I mean, they're going to have to bring out some sort of X factor, right? Because they've been struggling this entire match, and we're now onto the match point.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough decision to make, especially on this map. There's not all that much to work with because the players are kind of like limited to their lanes. They are going to bring in the Brock instead just to open up the walls a bit more. That is definitely interesting as Lifeball does fall early on. Trick might get pinched a bit over there. Takes a lot of damage from Carol. Carol dodging very well and just being so impactful in every lane. I think they should have matched the Sprout, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, we'll have to see how it works out. Actually, wow, that kill going in for Trick. Gonna secure that kill. Lifepool also winning his lane. Rav, the only member still alive on the battlefield. Trick gonna blow open this wall as well. The only defenses that BBA really have here are their own aim, their own dodges, and some bushes. I mean, the obstacles are no longer present, and this is going to be a major issue for BBA. Rav already struggling as he's getting this 1v2. Going to go down. BBA, the Sprout, we see, is having to fall back. Despite carrying 5 gems, they are not in a winning position. Carol is also going to put down this super here to be able to take 1 gem there. Trick gonna have to cope with this. That's interesting. I've never seen a gem land perfectly on the middle of a wall before. Carol, though, gonna get a nice kill here. Lifepool gonna help out as well. And a nice response there. Lifepool able to take this one back with a massive pull. That is gonna be this game, quite possibly going to Noble Elite as BBA are forced all the way back. Not enough time left for them to use their supers to their full extent. Adkins trying to get a little bit of damage, though we don't see a Rav able to get that super off either. That is going to be our 3rd set in a row going to a 1-to-1 count.
Yeah, that is an interesting turn of events. I think that the big game changer wasn't even necessarily the Brock. Like, although it did better than the Piper last game, I do feel like it was still weaker than Sprout. The difference for me here was truly Lifepool actually having an impactful pull. Because so far, his supers were all used on his lane, and he was still like 80% of the time losing his lane. This time, at least he got a really impactful pull that actually pretty much single-handedly got them that game, because it was a countdown for their opponents.
Yeah, it was. I really thought this one was going to be going the way of BBA, but I mean, it still could be. We're still at the match point. BBA, they cannot let this opportunity slip. They have brought themselves just 1 game away from closing out this elimination match and sending Noble Elite Croco out of Gamestars. Though, our brawlers, once again, now we see Noble Elite, they're running the Piper again, and this, Teddy, could be a big mistake. As you said, they should have matched the Sprout, and now they're getting hard countered once again. We actually do see Trick rotating over to the right lane instead of going for this mid battle, getting that kill on Adkins, and that is going to be a nice pick to start things off for Trick. The question is, who is going to pick up the gems at mid? We actually might see Noble Elite trying a similar strat to how they managed to snag a set from BBA in, or rather a game from BBA in set number 1. They got that last minute clutch with the pull. This time they could be trying to get the last minute snipe, though they are looking pretty good. Trick actually has that 6th gem, carrying a lot of gems. Gonna have a tough time perhaps against Adkins here, especially as he's faced with a 1v2. Trick getting taken down. Lifepool now forced to pick up all of these. That's gonna be actually a bit disadvantageous for Lifepool, as now he's not gonna be able to get as aggressive on that pull, Teddy.
Yeah, that is definitely gonna be a bit of a change. Nice bounces there from Carol on the Sprout. But look at this, that's enough gems to start a counter, and life pool, he's pretty much uncontested. No one messing around with him, and he just has an open space to navigate through. Trick trying to find a kill to stop that push. Carol does have a wall, might be placing that on the left side to isolate Spews. Not gonna do that just yet, and oh my god, the wall actually blocked the super from from Atkins.
That is that is insane. Well, that is actually going to be this set going to Nova Elite Croco, and I didn't see it coming at all, but now we see Nova Elite there sort of bring BBA to their knees. We almost saw BBA just sweep through this one, but we are now seeing a Nova Elite Croco pull through, showing BBA that, maybe you have met your match, right? You cannot be screwing around, BBA. We're going to be headed into set number 4, and Teddy, you know what this means? This means we're headed to Purple Paradise for set number 4, and it's going to be so exhilarating to watch. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got to take a look at our stats from this set. Nova Elite, despite winning, they do actually have lower stats as far as the kills say, Teddy.
Yeah, I feel like for the most part, except for that final game, BB Army were just kind of dominated. And true, it was a pull from life pool that really changed things around. I guess that life pool is kind of like a nice, nicely fitting name since he hit a nice pool. But besides those dad jokes, I feel like they were playing better. It's just that they got the kills that mattered, Nova Elite, and that has been quite often what has been happening in this match. Even if you look at Siege and Hot Zone, there were more kills on the side of BB Army every single time, but Noble Elite, they were still getting quite close games despite having a lot less kills. And yeah, you can see the map, guys. It's going to be in a full-on open field, and it's going to come down to those snipes. And so far, BBA, they get kill number 1. Trick is low HP as well, but he survives with 72 HP.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm interested in the Byron here. I mean, Byron is definitely a strong brawler. Looks like he's going to be fulfilling more of a support role, though. This is going to be tough, actually, for Nova Elite Croco, because they're going to be fighting sort of a 2v3 if Trick is just healing them. Admittedly, though, Byron has good range, and he's able to 2-tap a lot of brawlers. So this could be actually tough for BBL to deal with. Here comes the Nanny Super, getting that kill on Carol, and that's going to be turning around this game in Noble Elite's favor.
Yeah, important kill, but there's other Nani head, and I think that was the worst way to use it, to be honest. Sending it on the other Nani, they know that he has a return to sender, and sure, at least it pumps to return to sender, but you might as well go on a Piper or a Byron that just will die. You know what I mean? Even if they dodge it, you can still try to intercept them when the Piper lands or something along those lines. BBA does have the lead now, going for the same again. Spews actually kills Atkins with the return to sender, so I don't know what Atkins is doing with those peeps, because he could be getting easy kills. I guess that maybe the reason he's going for them on Spews is just because that means that Spews can't push up. Nice pull from from D2 Rav. He was off screen, sorry, but yeah, so far it's not looking too bad for BBA, and this is kind of what to expect here. There's no cover, there's no strategies, it all comes down to the mechanics.
Yeah, and a nice bait from Spews, baiting out the Piper Super. Does not manage to get value on that Super, though. Gonna see some very aggressive play now from Noble Elite Croco. They're not gonna be able to get value on it. Wow, and they came excruciatingly close to getting a couple kills there. They almost killed Carol, they almost killed Adkins there. Those were the important kills to get. Though I gotta say, I mean, I think maybe the prime target for the Nanny Super would actually be Gene, because he has nothing to counter it. The only thing he can do is dodge. Piper, she can jump out of the way. We can see, a Nanny get the return to sender. We saw 1 kill from each team with the return to sender as a response to the Nanny Super. So maybe we'll see that adjustment going into the next game. But I mean, for the second time in a row, we've seen a Noble Elite Croco. They have brought themselves now to the match point. BBA, they're looking very good. They just need to keep up this sort of gameplay in order to take this whole match.
Yeah, and something that I think is quite interesting with the Gene is you could be thinking like Byron does so much more healing, which technically is true, but at the same time, the healing from Gene can really not be underrated because it's basically really close to the same as having just a constant a Byron shot on you, healing you, 400 health. Like Byron's like a bit below 500. So the difference is not that big. Obviously, Byron has a super as well, and he can stack his attacks on people to heal them more. But that means he needs to shoot on them. While, Genie can just spam his opponents, get some pools available. We do have that match now by life pool. So we'll see if that's enough to make a difference. The red star was picked up by BBA, and we have a Dickhead heading forward. That is going to be returned to center, but it's matched by Atkins' return to center, and that's going to be the kill in their favor.
Wow, that was actually a big brain play right there, one that I can definitely appreciate. Some great snipes from Adkins here. Almost getting taken out by Spuse, though. Spuse is looking very good on his aim, too. We see BBA, though, in a bit of a hairy situation as they're backed all the way up against their wall. The only thing they can do is dodge side to side. No backing up for them. A near kill there on Gene coming out from Spuse once again. Adkins taking just a little bit of damage. Something I want to point out here, though, is we actually see Life Pool acting as a Life Pool here with the Gene star power healing up trick. We see the similar strat from BBA. We saw it last round. We see it this round too. And BBA, they're looking very good, actually. We already saw it. If you blinked and missed it, Adkins managed to get that return to sender tech hit again. BBA now just leading by 3 stars, though. I mean, if we see Noble Elite just get 3 stars here, they are going to end up taking this.
Nope.
Wow, and is getting excruciatingly close. A 1-star difference is all it's going to be. That is almost going to be Noble Elite picking up the lead. BBA, they are your winners in this elimination match. They will be moving on to the decider match on May 6th. You want to come that day. It's going to be all decider matches, but that is also, unfortunately, going to be Noble Elite Croco getting knocked out of Gamestars.
Indeed, end of the journey for the former ECA monthly finalists, as they do manage to pick up 2 sets, across the day. That's definitely not a bad performance, but it's not enough to move on to the next round, or at least not enough to stay in the competition. This is going to be slowly leading us towards the grand finals for this group. Before that, we might still have a couple of stats. We'll see if they come up in a second. But BBA, man, an open map like Purple Paradise, that is pretty much just a 1v1 fest. That is going to be giving them the advantage just because of that raw mechanical skill they have.
Yeah, though something that's really interesting, I mean, we do have the 1v1 fest, right? And we did see the 1v1 interactions like, the Nanny, the Piper. Though what's interesting to see is they did actually tend to stick together in a group just so they could all benefit from the Gene healing. Because Gene is, I guess, able to heal, 400 health per second. And then you combine that overall, he's able to get 800 healing per second. So that's actually really, really solid healing just coming from Gene when you're all sticking around him. And, it was interesting to see, Life Pool acting as a Life Pool that was not able to propel Noble Elite Croco to victory there. But the discrepancy in the stats, I mean, you saw just now, BBA, they had twice the kills of Noble Elite Croco. And if that does not, describe it, the sort of advantage, or I guess that the fact that BBA is a cut above Noble Elite Croco, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, for sure. I think we are ready to hop in for some highlights before we get into the finals.
My nickname is Carlos. My name is Carlos Prieto, and I represent Corazon, Spain. We are 4 players. We are together since 6 or 5 months. We are really happy because we are playing really good these days, and we are trying to do the best in the qualify. From Ale is Rico or Piper, because he is really good with them, and they used to play them a lot of time. From Jaime, I think that is Genio, because he is really good playing him. He has got a lot of skin of Gen. Bruno, I think is Jesse could be. I don't know why right now. And Fede is Max, because he's really good with her. My goal is do the best as we can. Obviously try to win, but it will be really difficult. But I have to be positive, do the best that we can. I really think that we had luck with the bracket. I expect that the next qualifier will be for us easily, I think. Depends of the day, but probably 1 screen, 2 screens per day. Depends when if they are near the monthly finals. So it could be I don't know, 3-4 hours. Guys, I trust you. Do the best. I know that when you are focused, you could be one of the team. So keep focused. Let's go.
Welcome back, y'all, to Gamestars. We are going to be getting into the final match of the day. It is going to be Sky Blue versus Zero Zone Spain, and we've seen strong performances from both of these teams. Of course, they both had to win their semifinals match in order to make it into the finals today. And I mean, Teddy actually was fairly confident, though, that we were going to see Zero Zone Spain take this one. Though Sky Blue, we already saw a pretty good performance from them against Noble Elite Croco. Admittedly, we did see Noble Elite Croco get eliminated in the elimination match. Just the last match that we watched, they win against BB Army. BB Army, of course, we will see in the decider matches. All of those matches are going to be on May 6th. You won't want to miss it. But going back to Sky Blue versus Zero Zone Spain, Teddy, I mean, what are your expectations for this match?
I think that honestly Zero Zone Spain should have this one pretty confidently in the bag, but you're never up to be surprised. I would probably have expected Noble Elite Croco to win against Sky, so Sky Blue have impressed us already. We will find out if they can do it again against Zero Zone, but Zero Zone is a team at a whole other level. The maps are going to be Factory Rush for Siege, Corner Case for Jam Grab, Ring of Fire for Hot Zone, and the rest we will figure out later because it seems like we are in a hurry. The bans here are going to be Bell for Sky Blue, Poco for Zero Zone. Poco is a confidence ban. Poco is the kind of ban you go for if you know you're the better team, you know that you are supposed to win it, and you just want to remove any blind picks, RNG. It's not technically RNG, I guess it's more luck. So you just want to make sure that you don't get outconned by a Poco double tank situation. Just get him out of the mix. That means that you're confident with all the other brawlers, and it also means that Stu is going to be playable, which is not happening every match for sure. So a brawler that we can expect to see a lot in this series.
Yeah, I mean, and we also see the Bell ban as well, right? So we are gonna, as you said, have Stu in this battle. It's probably gonna be on every single map. So we're gonna see some comps that, really work to help out Stu. Maybe a little bit less of the sort of Gene, Max, Sandy that we see most of the time. probably still going to see Sandy in the mix, right? Just because he's a generally strong brawler. But no longer is it just going to be pretty much locked into this sort of trio that we've been seeing all day. The Jean, the Sandy, and the Max, right? So, you know, this is looking pretty good, actually. Stu is a little bit irritating to have to play when he's not banned and you have to play him. But it is going to make things, I think, a little bit different and a little bit more interesting than what we've seen so far today.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a nice mix. It is going to be a bit scary, though, because it is, you know, a brawler that is mechanically pretty hard to play. I think some people will say it's easy, but I honestly think that playing it at a high level is not all that easy, especially when you end up in a Stu 1v1. It's extremely hard. It goes extremely fast. You need to use that super very well. And even just getting that super in the first place is not always going to be the easiest, because sure, it's only one shot, but a lot of brawlers are going to be outranging you. A lot of brawlers will win in a close-up fight before you're able to, you know, get in range. So it is quite dangerous early on. It's really going to be depending on how they're able to pop off with that. And I think this can really go either way, at least regarding that Stu pick, right? Because for Sky Blue, being able to shine individually might be the key to victory here if they can hard carry on Stu. I don't know how good they are with Stu. Good enough that they felt like they didn't need to ban it. And Zero in Spain, if they banned Poco, they probably knew that Stu would be pretty much a playable brawler. So interesting bans here as Bell as well. You know, it is a brawler that I don't feel like was extremely dominating, but once again, if you look at those teams, Zero in Spain, they are the kind of team that are going to be buying every single brawler on day of release. They're not going to be messing around. They need it. They are very committed to the game. Sky Blue, it could be possible as well that some of them just haven't unlocked her just yet and just want to make sure that, you know, they don't end up giving them a brawler that they can play and that you can't. So that's something to keep in mind as well, because that can lead to a very strong ban in that sense. Obviously, it would be easier if they just had the brawler. I'm just assuming stuff. Maybe they do. But, you know, it is something to keep in mind, because I don't feel like she was, like, extremely overwhelming either. At least I feel like a Stu ban would make a lot more sense to that respect. So that's what I suppose, that's what I assume is the decision process here for Sky Blue.
Yeah, they have a work cut out for them. You know, if they don't have Bell, they're playing at a big disadvantage, because we saw a really great performance from Bell in our previous matches. You know, even from Noble Elite Croco versus Bodo's Barmy Army, but more importantly from Zero Zone Spain, right? We saw great Bell play from them, and it was just tough for BBA to cope with. I mean, we had a, what was it, like 1260 something Bell from Zero Zone Spain, and I mean, interesting that we see Sky Blue, you know, banning that. Perhaps they just don't want to deal with it. So, you know, probably a prudent decision there from Sky Blue. But now that Sky Blue cannot play Stu, this is going to be, or sorry, they can play Stu, but you know, they had to choose to ban Bell instead of Stu, and that could be really working to their detriment here.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for the least, but we are ready to hop in. This is gonna be interesting. Bot Drop, very open map. It is not Bot Drop. It is Factory Rush rather. And I just confuse them because they're both very open maps in the center area, but they are pretty different on the lane side of things. Naruto is so low HP. It's gonna fall, and before he can bank that bolt, that is actually quite big, because it's just, you know, an extra bolt after this draw that is going to be favoring Zero Zone. So good for them. Sky Blue, on the other hand, they do have quite a bit of control, especially on that left-hand side and in the center area. The pull on Naruto is going to be the way to open things up, as Alice finds a nice tag, goes for another dash, doesn't really find as much value off this one, and he's going to be tagged down a low HP.
Yeah, Zero Zone keeping up the pressure all the way across this map. Looking pretty even on the bolt count, though. This one actually could maybe tie up for the second siege, so it could all come down to the last siege. Here we see the Stu 1v1. Shrews coming out victorious on this one. Gonna pick up the bolt, but we still do see Sky Blue operating at a bolt deficit here. Zero Zone, they're looking pretty good, though, as far as their bolt count, though. this might be a tough interaction for them to win on the final
Oh,
siege.
nice dodge from Drew.
There's a spectacular dodge coming out, and that is going to be this bot headed all the way over to Sky Blue's Ike. They might actually get a really nice defense here. They have loads of damage coming out from Amber. Shrew's not able to get too much of that defense, though. They're actually going to leave it alone and go back for the early offense. It's something that we actually saw from Zero Zone. Sky Blue, now they're going to employ the strategy. It's going to allow them to take up 2 kills there, taking down Stu and Jean, and they are definitely going to be securing this last siege. So it's a real matter of whether they can keep control of mid as this siege is about to come out. They don't want to get pulled. They don't want to get taken down. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to deal any damage to the Ike.
Yeah, I just want to point out the way they retook middle control is that they committed all 3 players to 1 lane, which is the best way to go. Nice pull. It's not going to result in a kill, though. I'll talk about what I wanted afterwards, as this is pretty important. Can they find enough damage? It seems like they should be able to make that happen here. The bot is just tapping it down, and that's going to be Sky Blue actually taking that first game home.
Wow, and you know, I think you put it really well. We did see Sky Blue using a good strategy, right? They put all their players on 1 lane, and they were just able to punch through that defense, because we saw from Zero Zone, they had good control across the board, but they were not really accounting for the scenario in which Sky Blue just all goes on 1 lane. I guess they're used more to just going for pinches with 2 brawlers instead of just going for 3 and completely surrounding their enemies. So that's something that they're definitely going to be keeping in mind in this upcoming match. They have a couple wins to pick up here if they want to take this set and operate a bit similarly to how they were going in match 1, where they were able to take a lot of wins really quickly, just sweeping every single set that they were in.
Yeah, and I honestly think that they kind of knew that it was a strong possibility to go for a one-side push, because that's the way to go after you have a big bold lead and you just defend it successfully. You can afford to go for one side, and that's the only scenario where you should do that, because you already have the bold lead and you don't need to get bolts left, right, and middle. You just need to get a couple of bolts to be able to make sure that your opponents are just not enough to get that siege bot, because you had that such a strong head start. And the thing is, on Zero Zone side of things, they were kind of forced to go for that. They could just let a side open, because otherwise they would just attack another front. So it was a bit of a tough decision of where to go, and really well played by Sky Blue. They do take quite a bit of damage early on. They don't have a whole lot of bolts, and nor do they have a whole lot of control just yet. So it's going to be about this retake here. This siege bot is pretty much already secured for Zero Zone. Sky Blue, how many bolts are going to be leaking from Zero Zone? How many can they pick up for the next one? That is a real question. And actually, it is going to get quite close. You might even end up having a tie. I don't think so. Yeah, it is a siege bot for Zero Zone, but Sky Blue are going to have a good head start coming into the next one if they can defend it successfully.
Yeah, Zero Zone now coming in full force. They got 3 supers stacked up on them. Admittedly, Stu super, not that impactful. But here comes the speed coming in. Byron ready to lay down healing. Wow, actually in a spectacular defense there actually coming out from Sky Blue. They do stand a chance actually of taking this game in a similar fashion to their last one if they can snag control of mid here. They just need actually a couple of bolts to really cement their victory over Zero Zone here. Maybe not even need control, though it would be ideal actually for them to get some supers. We do see Jaime, whatever his name is, getting a kill there and healing at the same time. Level 12 siege bot for Sky Blue. It is a purple, very sped up siege bot headed all the way towards Zero Zone's Ike, and we do see all the members of Sky Blue ready for this final push. Shrew's gonna get this pinch on whatever his name is, and man, Jaime is not looking too happy right now. Zero Zone, I guess they're used to mostly winning. The final siege was all it took to topple Zero Zone. That is going to be set number 1 now, going to Sky Blue.
Oh man, that is an interesting result for this set. I do want to say that Siege is and has always been a bit of an outlier game mode as well, where you can even sometimes play super well and dominate like 90% of the game, but just lose to that final siege bot, which has happened twice in a row here. So I don't really want to say that, you know, it's the tone of this match. It does give a big advantage coming into the next couple of games and sets, because now Sky already has a set on the board that's going to be giving them a lead and obviously some nice momentum and confidence boost coming into the next one. But if you look here overall, it's extremely close. You know what I mean? Like, you look at this set, kills wise, damage wise, it's super similar. The only difference here, and I think that those kills difference, the reason there's 3 kills is because they got some kills on that final push here, Sky Blue. I think that otherwise it would be literally the same stats. It's just that they got that one siege bot that mattered in every siege game, and that's why siege is so difficult. It's such a harsh game mode where if you do a mistake in that last preparation phase, you're going to be losing that last siege bot, and that's a full commitment siege bot that is just so deadly. But ready, set, we are moving on to corner case here for gem grab. This oh no, it is I think
That's
it's
the
wrong
old corner case.
icon or the wrong map. Yeah, I'm kind of confused because this is heist, but it, like, you know what I mean, it's gem, it says gem grab, but it shows heist, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on here.
I think I blame the devs for this one, because what they did was they took a heist map called the corner case out of the game, and then they bring a gem grab map into the game called corner case, which is strange. But I mean, there is an interesting case going on in the corner. There is a teleporter that we could see these teams using if they get very desperate. Though, take a look at our comps. Something similar from both teams. We see the Sandy and the Stu coming out. Those are sort of no-brainer picks. The difference between these two teams is going to lie within the Max and the Sprout. Sprout's going to go for mid control, and we're going to see Max actually just sort of orbiting, sort of roaming, really just going for damage and trying to get that speed on the teammates to really enable them. It's really useful on Stu. Stu's going to go for this aggressive kill, or at least some damage on Sprout, able to push Sprout out of the way, and we're going to see Sky Blue pick up even more gems. And, I mean, Teddy, this is not what we were expecting to see at Sky Blue. They're keeping a lot of gems under control, though now they're in a hairy situation. 3v2, not an optimal situation. Shrews is going to have to get this kill on Fade. Fade not going to be able to make it to the teleporter in time. First Curse now going to pick up this gem. We see them just 1 gem away from victory. An opportunity for Nardo to grab this one. A kill. Wow, 2 kills. Oh, and the teleport now finally coming in clutch. First Curse just trying to do whatever he can, trying to get whatever damage possible. And the heal coming in to keep First Curse alive. This match is really heating up.
Yeah, that was a really well played TP, and that puts Zero Zone back in control. They are still quite behind in gems, but Ale has a very nice position as well, where he can get some shots from afar. He is covered by Fede, and I think that is kind of the decider here, whether Sky Blue can deal with this Sprout. They have 2 really strong brawlers to do it in, actually 3 really strong brawlers to push him up and take him down. But if the cover is good from his teammates, he can do some serious damage, get some serious control, and that is what seems to be happening here for Zero Zone. 8 gems in the pocket, make it 9 now. They actually have the gem lead. They managed to find a nice kill on First Curse. That's going to be countdown. They are going to be waiting for 1 more gem before rotating back, so they can just lock that countdown, make sure that Sky Blue can only interrupt it by finding a kill on a gem carrier. And so far, all the kills are going on the side of Zero Zone. This is gonna be the game secured by Zero Zone, and oh my, what a comeback, all due to that sick TP from First Curse on the gem carrier.
Yeah, we saw a couple brawlers come through the teleporter, and I think, you know, that might have been a misplay there from Sky Blue, because they without a doubt had the advantage, but they were hanging out so close to the teleporter that as soon as someone takes the teleporter, they are in danger. As soon as someone's close to the teleporter on the opposite side of the field, they are in danger. So it's really tough to see, you know, what sort of the range of enemy brawlers is, or, you know, what is a safe zone and what is not when you have the teleporters in play, just because, you know, you have a teleporter, you have a portal from one place to the other, so pressure over there is the same as pressure over here, and it really complicates things. I think that was very well played by Zero Zone. They were able to put the teleporters to work, and it got pretty close in the end, but I think that was the turnaround that we needed to see from Zero Zone here.
Yeah, here we go, I think we have the same comps exactly on both sides. Here's I'm confident about the Sprout pick. It's a really hard brawler to play here, but if played right, it can be the difference maker. Once again, the reason it's so hard to play is because it's getting countered by everyone, so it really relies on how solid the defense is from Zero Zone. And with Ali being the last player alive here, that's not exactly an ideal situation. Shrew does take a bit of damage, but he is in overall a pretty solid position. He does get tagged quite a bit there. He's going to get reset on his heal as well, which could lead to a kill. Oh, that was a pretty sick bounce. Ali actually just pinching him with 2 Sprout shot, one coming from the bounce and one going straight onto his face.
Yeah, that is entertaining to watch, and that is really, you know, what makes a difference for Sprout. You can play Sprout practically anywhere if you're able to hit your shots like that, if you're able to fully use the ricochet, and if you're able to hit shots in close range, you know, those just direct hits, because one of the things that makes Sprout so frustrating, wow, and a nice bounce again.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah, oh my
popping
god.
off. Gosh, he's insane. We're going to see this flank actually from Zero Zone. Fortunately, Shrews is able to make it out of the way with the use of those supers. What in a countdown now coming out. We're going to see Fade get this defense against first Curse, and that is very well played. Naruto also going for the offense. Now they can't hide all the way back at their spawn because that is a dangerous position with that teleporter over there. And we're going to actually see Zero Zone take this game with relative ease comparatively. That is going to bring our score in this match to 1-1. And, you know, this is more the Zero Zone that we're more familiar with. Sky Blue, though, they had a great performance in Siege. Zero Zone, I think they were just slipping up a little bit, maybe losing their temper, getting a little bit impatient. We even saw it in the first game. We saw the player cam, of course. We saw the not like this coming out from Zero Zone. But they have finally, you know, found their footing again. I think one real mark of that is we saw great shots connecting with the Sprout. You know, you can tell that they're thinking about this mentally. They've, you know, reset just a little bit, and they're back in the correct mindset to win this match.
Yeah, man, I just want to point out the Sprout plays were absolutely on point here for Zero Zone Spain. Definitely the difference maker, and I think that shows a lot about just, you know, how good they play, because despite in 2 different games playing a brawler that gets countered by every single brawler on the enemy team, they managed to make it the most impactful brawler of the set.
Oh, yeah.
That is just absolutely insane how much value they were able to find with it. And that's due to not only him performing out of his mind, hitting so many good shots, so many good bounces, or even just shots straight on target, but also his teammates being able to give him the space to go for those plays. So that was some amazing team play, some amazing individual performance as well. And Zero Zone Spain was one of the most beautiful games of Gem Grab I've seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Sprout, just for one, like really setting up a lot of opportunities. Great use of the teleporters. We don't usually see it a lot. With that, though, we are going to be leaving set number 2 behind, moving on to set number 3. It's going to be on Ring of Fire. And, I mean, what we've seen from Ring of Fire, we saw the triple healers, and we saw, you know, the attempts to counter the triple healers. We saw the Jean coming out, right? Jean for the, I guess, essentially healing pool, but it wasn't enough to deal with the Byron. Keeping our bans in mind, let's take a look at our brawlers for this next game. Bit of a difference here, actually. We see the Barley coming out from Sky Blue, and that could actually give 8-Bit a bit of a tough time coming out from Zero Zone, just because throwers tend to counter turrets. Though, similarly, we see Zero Zone coming out with the Sprout once again. Sprout, as we made a note of in the last set, is one of the standout players here. Fade doing a phenomenal job. Already looks like gonna get this pinch on Naruto. Ooh, unfortunately missing Naruto. Naruto gonna get that teleport as well. Though Fade is not gonna let that turret exist for long, taking it out. Though taking a look at our percentage, though, Zero Zone, they're looking pretty good on the percentage.
Yeah, they've had control for a while now, and Shrew, taking quite low HP, is gonna have to slow things down a bit and heal up. Rather, gonna be healing up his teammate. That is gonna be a lot more impactful. The Barley gadget joining in the party as well. Naruto trying to get the nice kill on Fade, but it's actually not even gonna be working out, and Fade takes him down. Zero Zone
Ouch.
still in control, and they are widening up that lead further and further more. They're almost at the 70% threshold now.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a fat finger there where we accidentally see Naruto go that close to Fade. Fade getting taken out by Shrews, and we could see Sky Blue threaten to take back control, though look at Zero Zone. They are pushing their backline way far up, and it looks like they've actually allowed Sky Blue to get behind them a little bit. First, Curse in a nice position, though this was handled actually quite well by Zero Zone. They're going to stay on this point, take this point. That is going to be game number 1 in set number 3 going to Zero Zone.
Yeah, I think that final cross wall that we saw there is actually one of the better walls on this map, because it's just a nice way to block off the middle a bit, and against something like an Abit and a Byron, that's really, really strong, because it just gives you more cover, more space to work with. And I think that, you know, overall, Barley is maybe a bit in a better place in the meta than Sprout, but once again, Fade playing really, really solid on that Sprout and giving just some extra, you know, cover for his teammates to work with. Plus, just playing around those left walls very well, just hitting those shots consistently, finding a lot of value and damage across the board. So I think he's been standing out really starting into set 2, but he's still keeping up that kind of pressure in set number 3 here.
Yeah, I agree with you with, you know, Sprout being maybe outclassed a little bit by Barley in this meta. Sprout, you know, has been in a strong position for a long time, mostly because he can be, or, well, I guess Sprout can be so tanky, especially in bushes, with the ability to eat bushes for health as well. I think that's why we saw Sprout able to do pretty well, you know, against a brawler like 8-Bit, who has loads of health, loads of damage, because we see Sprout is able to tank because of the shield and the healing ability, as well as getting some tricky shots and angles, just because, you know, it's tough to see where that seed bomb is actually going to go, especially when you're in close quarters. You're able to control, you're able to cover more area just because that seed bomb is able to bounce around, whereas Barley is not able to do that. And this is an interesting game coming up here. Zero Zone, they're bringing out the Penny, though Sky Blue, they're bringing out the Mortis, because they, I guess, really, really hate Zero Zone on that Sprout.
Yeah, it seems like that is the case. Shrews is going to be about a hit or two away from his super, but so is LA, and that means that if he stands nearby that turret, Shrew can't really do all that much. Actually, never mind, he will just go and pick up that kill.
Yeah, Zero Zone keeping control of the point we see. Oh, yeah, that is true. That is true. Though, Zero Zone coming back to the point, we see Jaime now with the super speeding himself up on the point, plugged in, coming in clutch here as we see Zero Zone try to keep control. Unfortunately, Jaime going down. Naruto and First Curse now standing on the point. It is the OP duo of 8-Bit and Byron. Remember, that is coming out from both teams, though we do see First Curse in a more aggressive positioning, not going for the healing. Now he's standing in the damage booster to try and get additional healing on Naruto, but look at Zero Zone on the left side. We see Penny getting some massive damage, taking out that turret and threatening out to take out yet another turret with a cannon that is just not going to go away. Penny's mortar gonna save her once again in the left side, and this is looking actually quite hopeful for both teams, though, with this pesky turret up in an inaccessible location. Sky Blue, they're gonna be given a run for their money.
Yeah, Shrews' low HP does make it out alive, but in the meantime, Zero Zone are capturing the zone, only a couple of percentages away from taking this set and going the distance. And there you have it, Zero Zone leading by a set. Now it's 2-1 for the Spanish team.
Yeah, that's looking fantastic for them. They're just one set away from victory. Though Sky Blue, they were threatening to topple Zero Zone, and Zero Zone, keep in mind, they were the favored team headed into this match. So Sky Blue, they still stand a chance if Zero Zone loses their footing once again. I think that was really the main downfall of Zero Zone versus Sky Blue. If we just take a look at the first set, where we saw that last bot go to Sky Blue twice, and that was able to win them the round. So, no, Zero Zone, they just need to keep their cool, take a deep breath. Remember, okay, we're Zero Zone, right? We got good players, we got good strats. Sky Blue, though, they're going to really have to stomp on the gas pedal and crank it up, bring out some different plays here, because actually, I mean, look at the difference between these teams just in the last set. Of course, this one went 0-2 in favor of Zero Zone Spain, though as far as damage and kills, this was actually quite similar, Teddy.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I think it was more about where you get the kills. And that's the thing. If you get some trades, it's going to be favoring the team that is capturing the zone, right? So if they were, in a 3 versus 3 and you have 1 kill or 2 kills on each side, the player remaining, well, it would have been Zero Zone most likely capturing the zone, getting that objective up, and getting more out of that fight despite having a similar amount of kills. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. Just like how in Brawl Ball, for example, when you're very close to your enemy goal, if you trade each other out, it may favor the attacker or the defending team, depending on the situation. So trades are not always just trades. They can actually give an advantage anyways, whether it's wasting time, getting better positioning, keeping an objective in check, or weakening the defense enough to score a goal in Brawl Ball. So it's all possible. Quick skip is going to be our next map. This looks like a map that comes straight out of the map maker. Man, 4 teleporters. That is going to be going all over the place, isn't it?
Not only 4 teleporters, but we have long lanes of water that I guess, maybe our players will find a way to roll over or use them to their advantage. Probably going to see the Sprout come out again, and probably it's going to see the Barley come out again. I don't see any way that Mortis is going to make it through this map besides using the teleporters. But I would still say that's a pretty strong option here, is the counter to the throwers. We'll probably see that coming out from Sky Blue because Zero Zone's Sprout has really been giving them a tough time. That's Fade, mind you, Fade on the Sprout, giving Sky Blue a run for their money. Take a look. We have the double throwers coming out from both teams. In fact, it's a mirror match across the board. And this was really just going to come down to who has the better mechanics, or who has, the better ability to decide what lane matchups they're going to go for, since there's no difference in comps. It's just brawlers now.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting one, as First Curse takes a lot of damage. It does make it out alive for the time being. Nice gadget popped as well. Fade will be matching that gadget, but he's going to get closed out by that wall. And actually, Ale finds a nice double kill. Fade finds yet another one as well, and it's going to be a 5-star lead to kick things off for Zero Zone Spain.
Yeah, Zero Zone, they're looking very good right now. Sky Blue, they're being pushed all the way back to their spawn. Zero Zone, I think they might actually want to go for mid control here, since they're playing quite passive and allowing Sky Blue to just sort of attack into them. They only have 1 minute left to defend here, so they're looking pretty good. Here comes the Nanny Peep coming out, gonna secure a kill on Naruto. Perhaps a bit of a misplay not going for the return to sender on that one. Unfortunate there for Sky Blue as they return in. Naruto's really gonna look for some damage here. Here comes a Peep though out of Naruto, gonna have to pilot that one over to a prime target. Might get hit with the return to sender. There comes the return to sender and the counter return to sender, but it's not enough to take out any players from Zero Zone. Fade though now having to face against another Sprout, looking to get that kill on First Curse. First Curse actually able to secure that kill. That's going to be just a little boost there for Sky Blue, but it's only the beginning of the kills that they need to start racking up in the last 10 seconds of this match.
Yeah, this is a tough position for Sky Blue. They need kills and they need them fast, and they're not going to be finding them. Zero Zone Spain at match point, 1 game away from moving on to the next stage.
And Sky Blue, they're not really stranger to the situation, because they have been fighting some pretty tough sets leading up to this one. So, perhaps they're able to dig deep, find the metal, but I mean, faced with a mirror match, they did get outplayed. There were simply just some better mechanics coming out from Zero Zone Spain. Though something I do want to remark is, we thought the Sprout coming out from Zero Zone Spain was practically invincible. Like, he was impossible to take down. Sky Blue, though, they got a couple kills. on Sprout that round. So maybe, you know, that is not the X factor that is propelling Zero Zone Spain to victory. It's not even just, you know, one individual player, right? It is an entire team that is playing very well together and individually.
Yeah, definitely. They're the whole package, right? At least for this group, they are the team that has some of the most or rather highest mechanical skill, but also the best team play, the best synergy, the best team like cohesion. So they're a tough team to beat in this group. I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how they fare against some better teams, you know, in the other groups when it comes to the next stage of the competition. Sky Blue, on the other hand, they've shown us some potential here and there, but I think the word I want to use is inconsistent. Like some games, they're going to play it really well. They're going to clutch up big time, and we've seen that happen here against Zero Zone. We've seen it happen when it was their first match as well. But right now, it doesn't really feel like they're in that position. And now they're down to match point. They will need to clutch up.
Yeah, and we see a vastly different approach actually coming out from Sky Blue this time. It doesn't look like Zero Zone was really actually prepared for this one, since the only change that they make is that they're switching onto the Gene for the group healing. So they're just switching out one brawler here. Of course, that is the Sprout. Fade is now switching onto that Nanny. Shrews getting a nice first kill there. Sky Blue, actually, if they can keep up this momentum, they do stand a good chance of taking this one. Zero Zone, though, they have a lot of damage to do, and it just doesn't look like they actually have the DPS to muster all of that. All they really need is a really good pull from Gene, pulling someone through a lot of mines. But see, that's the only real kill condition besides a really great super coming out of Fade on the Nanny. So this is actually going to be a very tough one for Zero Zone to win. It looks like they actually got a bit outcomped in this game.
Yeah, this is a nice first kill. Nice tank from Shrews. That's going to be taking care of that peep. And now suddenly, Zero Zone, they need to commit a bit more to that push. The ticket does give them a bit more space to pull on Shrews. That's going to be a kill, and that's going to be the lead taken back by Zero Zone. They have a bit of room to breathe as well, as the blue star is on their player with 3 stars. That is on the Gene, I believe. And that means that if any of the other players go down, it's not the end of the world just yet. Shrews getting pulled once again. There is a pull onto Faded that is going to be resulting into a kill for Sky Blue, but it's still a 2-star lead for Zero Zone right now.
Yeah, we're back to where we were practically at the beginning of the match. Zero Zone, they need to get a good defense, but they are getting completely surrounded. We see Sky Blue getting all around them. Zero Zone, they've completely bunched up, and here comes the final assault. If they can get this defense, they actually have this. A nice attack, but at the last moment, Zero Zone able to get this kill with Tick Mines. That is going to be it. Zero Zone winning the final today. Congratulations to Zero Zone, and man, it was so close to going completely differently. It all came down to a nice prediction from Tick on where BB was going to head, and it was actually so close there. The double kill from BB, followed from the attack from Tick. Really well handled it there from Zero Zone. Sky Blue looked like they really had Zero Zone backed up against a wall, but Zero Zone, they somehow managed to find their way out of it.
Yeah, that was super impressive. Sky Blue, they truly fought until the end, but they could not make it work against the almighty Zero Zone Spain, which means that Zero Zone, they are heading towards the next stage of the competition. Congratulations to them, Sky Blue. It's not the end of their journey just yet. They still have a match to play against BBA in the decider match on May 6th. So that is something to keep in mind for sure. Those series have been quite close kill-wise. I think it's just about finding more value out of those kills, and Zero Zone Spain was just able to make that happen more consistently, getting kills at more important moments, but also getting trades that favored them rather than their opponents. So amazing performance from Zero Zone, a really outlier match, and I'm excited for the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at some of the highlights from the match of the day. This is when Sky Blue is actually kind of giving Zero Zone a tough time. Look at Jaime looking kind of rough here. He's not pleased that they went down in that first set, and I think we were talking about this, right? They need to just take a deep breath, reset, and that is exactly what they did. Moving into the next sets, we see Fade almost getting out with that teleport. These ones actually came quite close, but this is where we saw Zero Zone start to turn around and get back in their element. This was just the precursor to the rest of the games. We see a nice defense there from Zero Zone. Shrews not able to punch through. First Curse not able to touch them either. And of course, Hot Zone, where it actually started to look like Sky Blue was doing quite a nice job, but Zero Zone was just able to have a greater presence on the Hot Zone.
Yeah, overall, this was a really interesting match, man. I feel like Zero Zone were definitely the better team, but Sky Blue was playing in a really good form and showing up to this match with some really solid performances as well. This is, however, gonna be leading us towards the end of the day. We have Noble Elite Croco that are leaving the competition here in Group D. Sky Blue and BBA are still going to be battling it out in the decider match on May 6th. But Zero Zone is a team that reigns supreme in this Group D and that are going to be moving on to the further stages of Gamestars. So still hope for the two teams that didn't quite make it. Noble Elite Croco, nice run today, guys. You guys give it your all, but it wasn't quite enough this time. Keep grinding. With this being said, Ready Set, do you have any closing words?
Yeah, well, I think we actually have an interview lined up with the coach from Zero Zone. Yeah, that is Carlos. We'll have him coming on in just a moment. I mean, once he is ready, of course, interview is ready. Let's hop in, y'all.
Okay.
Hello, how are you? I gotta say, spectacular performance from Zero Zone today. Carlos, it's nice to have you here. Of course, guys, this is Carlos, the coach of Zero Zone. Want to once again congratulate you on y'all's spectacular performance in the finals today. Just want to get an idea of some of your thoughts because we actually saw Sky Blue. They came through with an unexpected performance in set number 1. How did y'all deal with that sort of upset, losing that first set?
First of all, thank you so much for the win. So I'm really proud about my team. I know that when they focus, they are able to win whatever team. So the first set they were nervous. In the following sets they keep focus and when they won the games. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I mean, so I guess, you know, focus and consistency is the key. Teddy, you were going to say something.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, would it be possible to know what they were kind of like nervous about? Is it about, you know, being in such a large event? Is it about, you know, the other team looking like kind of tough to beat? Is there like something specific that, you know, made the players stressed out about this game?
Could be being in live. Could be. They used to play without cameras, without all, and more focus. Sometimes inclusive, if isn't some tournament important with music. But today, I know that they could be a little bit nervous. It's normal.
Well, that's really cool, and I think it can kind of prepare them also for like a LAN setting, like an offline event setting, where you're gonna have a crowd. You're not gonna be able to put in some music, and it's gonna be once again like a very foreign environment. So it's nice that you guys got a bit more used to some of those implications. Well, yeah. How do you guys feel about getting to the later stages of the competitions? Are there any teams that you guys really want to face or really don't want to face? Is there any like big team that you think like, oh, we don't want to be facing them?
Yeah, obviously teams like SK, Clash,
top teams Europe. For me, it's really scared to face them, but it's just the lack of the bracket. I think that we have a little bit of luck, not at all, because I didn't know that we have to play against D2 ATC because the rivals have changed. I don't know why, but it's okay. Just the bracket of the lack of the bracket, I think.
All right, I have a final question before we move on. I'm kind of wondering, the non-competitive maps, how do you guys approach that? Do you actually have a bit of time to prepare them beforehand, or is it all on the spot? Are you like involved in the comps as well?
Yeah. It's really hard because there are maps that we didn't prepare in scrims, so we had to improve a lot. Teleports are really random. We try to play together, focus, and when they, for example, do 2x1, stay together, all the communication. That's the main important thing, I think.
Well, thank you very much for your insights. I really like your mentality. Congratulations once again for the win, and thank you so much for joining us for this interview.
Thanks to you. Bye bye.
Yeah, well, that is going to sum up at Gamestars for today. That was an excellent interview. I mean, as far as closing remarks, I just want to say, Teddy, it's been a pleasure. This has been such an exhilarating day. We're going to be back tomorrow for Group E. Teddy, care to close us out?
Yeah, man, the teams you can expect to see tomorrow are going to be none other than AC Milan, Clash, A Few Good Men, Kazakhstan, FA Kozaki, and Chernobyl Dribblers. So that is definitely going to be some interesting matches, and I'm sure we'll have some Clash fans in chat excited about tomorrow. With that being said, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in and following this broadcast of Group D for Gamestars League. We will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place.